Butterflies on my insides have all gone away. You're not along for the danger, but I'm here to stay. I fall even deeper in the lies, they don't keep me away. You wanna know my secrets, so you keep crashing into my waves. I don't have the patience for that, not okay with waiting for that. I don't know what's changed in my head. Let's go somewhere and never come back. Tonight we lose control. No matter where we go, we're never going home. And you don't even know when I get you alone, you can lose your halo. What you waiting for? I've been feeling low. Won't you give me more? I fall even deeper in the lies, they don't keep me away. You wanna know my secrets, so you keep crashing into my waves. I don't have the patience for that, not okay with waiting for that. I don't know what's changed in me.
ahead of us today, Loading Vendors and Freak Show. I mean, Loading Vendors in particular is a team that I think everyone is keeping their eyes on because it's almost just Pittsburgh Knights. Now, not as closely as the previous Pittsburgh Knights. Now, Simsalou returning to the PPC to fill in on Clown Fiesta. They moved King Nick to main roster, but it's still a couple players that we've seen from back there, and them playing against Freak Show, a team that I recognize their names from streams. I recognize their names from the EU amateur scene for a while, but we'll see how they can handle this team of kind of seasoned PPL and just generally experienced players.
Yeah, absolutely. Taking a look at a couple of names, we definitely cast before a little bit of Zarini, Mudu, and King Nick particularly. I remember a couple of plays, from this particular.
And he's the only console player on the team. Oh. So he was in the console league before, and he's the only one not with that background in that pro league, minus also Kartoffel Tort, who's coming in to fill. But all the other names on the list were all PPL talent, and the only PCL member is him.
Yeah, and do we still have a little bit of a taboo against console players, or are they just, I don't know about that. People
what does that mean?
Controllers. You don't know about that taboo?
I think this meta, people are definitely leaning a little bit less on that aim assist controller discussion. I think in general, the meta is a little bit more flexible now. I want to say you can still play those hit scans, but I think the strong hit that Victor took and the hits that Vivian took, definitely people aren't really harping as hard on that, and we're seeing the general flexibility of the controller players. I mean, we're seeing Drogos being picked by Skeppy on Pickled Pepper, running on the sticks, so we're seeing these players kind of get forced to show the depth of their champion pool as we go further down patches.
Yeah, definitely. And the meta didn't shift too much, but definitely we see more picks. We have kind of a flexibility that we don't usually have on most maps. And, of course, you're still going to play your standards. You're still going to pick, as much as possible. Makoa, for example, is a first. Inara is still unscathed as the best tank in the game. Those particular picks.
Some people are fighting that. I think if we can head into picks and bans to actually see exactly what they're going to be thinking here, potentially. Central here. Jaguar Falls will be map number 1. We will see Inara here, but I'm hearing a lot of people arguing about Inara recently. I still think she's solid, honestly. Oh, I think I've actually frozen. Unfortunate, but I still think I'm very excited. You look at the excitement on my face here as we're getting into the draft on Jaguar Falls. But people are arguing against Inara. Some people, I think this is a map where she's still great. I think she's still playable. I just think sometimes the ultimates that you're getting from some of the other tanks, whether it be Dome Shield for space, whether it be the Immortal on the Nando, tends to get you a little bit more than a Seismic Crash. Resilience really shuts down the Inara ult-wise in the late game.
Depends probably on the matchup and map, of course, and you still have a lot of picks that you can go for, ROM available if you don't have any kind of counters against you. And now, as we see and head out for bans, I can see Torvald, of course, getting banned. Torvald getting a lot of love, from many different teams, thanks to that Babel Shield, that flexibility that you can have, and also basically renders one of your flankers completely immortal, and able to actually sustain a lot of damage and do all kinds of things, and actually have the possibility of retreating. We see him with Zin, etc. Io getting banned from Freak Show, and now that we have a little bit of a bigger selection of healers, what do you think is going to be, at this point, the first pick for Freak Show or Loading Vendors? Is it going to be a Genos? Is it going to be a Vivian as usual? What do you expect?
It depends on what gets banned here, because we see the Terminus gone. Genos and Corvus might still be available. So if they both get by, then I think they have to prioritize one, just because the dual comp of them still works. It still can get picked, just not as common. Vivian looks like it was banned, I'm assuming, as a slight target to King Nick. Still plenty of hit scans you can play on this map, though, so not really, I think, the biggest loss. I like Corvus, man. I think Corvus would be a good pickup here, but it'll be Genos instead, healing through walls. Of course, important on a map that is so many corners, so many little rooms, that you're going to want that kind of ability to play your healer very, very safe and have those setup ultimates to trap people in all those chokes as well. But Freak Show now, I mean, they can just grab Corvus and any tank or any
Droxus. They can go flank.
Intro would be great too, yeah.
Yeah, they can go whatever they please, actually, and do a nice combo. Of course, Makoa, since we are in Jaguar Falls, solid pick all around. Half shell, gives you that sustain inside the point, inside the circle.
Oh, yeah.
With the Corvus, of course, you got whatever. What's happening, Chris?
Oh, I just
Are
said,
you
oh
upset?
yeah, because of the Koa. I just wasn't even thinking about Koa being up still.
Yeah, the top priority pick and ban,
Jaguar
guys.
Jaguar Falls Makoa has risen almost drastically to the very, very top. His half shell, the ability to block down choke points is immense, honestly. And I mentioned that we were going to see her. It is Jaguar Falls. We are going to see her. And Nara picked up by loading vendors. We're assuming that's for Zarini on the tank. It just makes sense. They can get aggressive with that, even with the mark. They can actually try to punish people that way. But now they're playing it into a Sky. That extra bit of healing and that percentage damage is going to be hard to break through.
Actually, we saw a couple of weeks ago Khan getting played inside Jaguar Falls, almost at the same time with the semifinals. So the idea is, once again, to take control. You have incredible CC, you still have a shield, you can go with the Lian if you need a little bit more sustain, since you are with Makoa. And with Sky, you get that boost healing inside the circle. You can kind of do a max tank kind of a setup, and also you have the ultimate, you're incredible agile, and you can basically get that free kill, environmental kill at your disposal. But with Willow, she's gonna basically counter out Sky entirely. The dead zone is gonna block that healing that you can do with the AoE, and also Tyra. So personally, I said to you, many times again, that I don't particularly like this pick. Each and every time we saw Tyra, she didn't really work that much, and I'm wondering why.
I actually do still like her on this map. I think that she is just better than Victor in terms of brawling, and I think having the Mercy kill DR and the mark for the Sky will help significantly. But having that lack of long-range hit scan is going to make this Drogoz a lot more effective. I like this last pick from Freak Show, especially if they play it with, those worm jets spamming down. But it also lets loading vendors potentially play inside. I just think that it's going to work out well with Freak Show having a great comp to force them to stay out of it. Put a half shell in the way, have a Sky with poison bolts on the point. You don't want to push out from that, or else you're going to get spammed from every different direction.
Absolutely, and let's check it out inside the game, because we're ready to go. And let's see the loadout, if there's something different than usual. Pretty standard, actually. And of course, Guillotine to just deal with those two tanks at your disposal. Half shell, completely, super annoying inside that point. The survivability that you get from that, and of course, the sustained, team fight potential. As soon as they can get a single hook, on Genos, Tyro, whatever, they should be able to actually secure the first blood. I really hope that Freak Show, has the upper end.
Yeah, they have a lot of ways to get it. Plus, pull someone into a smoke and daggered Makoa, plus having a Drogoz above you in the Sky there. Nothing is going to really survive that hook. I mean, you're just not going to be able to walk away from that. So a lot of burst damage potential, but a very passive start to this mid, actually, from loading vendors. They're trying to play more reactively, and I don't know if I love this. I don't think I like how Freak Show are playing this in response, because they're just letting themselves get walked at now.
Yeah, absolutely. And right now we can see Miru actually trying to find a nice angle to get the Worm Jet, to get the enemy Drogoz as soon as possible. Of course, they are completely pushed off the inside the point. Sky, the only one survived. Not even that. She completely got shut down. So they got control of the point. They got control of the angle. They also have full-on dominance of the side lanes. Super good for them right now. Loading vendors actually completely dominating the enemy team right now.
I like those angles that Mutu was taking, and look at this hooked out, and might even actually end up surviving. Wait, they ignore him. They're running back now, but he made so much space, it lets them get this capture, and Kartoffel's cleaning up on all of it.
Yeah, he picks it right back up, and they actually got a bunch of kills right there. Incredibly important. The card is gonna move at fast disposal, but right now, of course, there's a little bit of a duel between the two of them, and I don't know how he got so unpunished against that single hook, but you need to pay attention right now. A little bit of scouting with the taunt. He has the right amount of damage right there. They're going to try to push in and get some kills.
Yeah, the half shell will delay a lot of this because, again, you don't want to shoot a half shell. You don't want to break it. You want to let it run out so the Makoa has to sit through that full 10 to 12 second cooldown, depending on the level of Chronos here. But look at this. Zarini actually, as they're trying to get aggressive, Zarini's trying to pinch them in the back, and only now are they just turning to stop him.
Nobody's touching Zarini right now. The Seismic Crash tries to get as much targets as possible. Of course, the pun is going to come in from Freak Show. They're completely being pushed off, and this guy's not working at all inside the composition.
Yeah, just getting revealed by this Tyra anytime he tries to get aggressive or just even, you know, post-fight, right? Maybe sometimes he could stay alive and delay, but that one mark is making it so difficult. You ban one backline assault rifle hit scan that reveals, you have to play against the other, and clearly it's too much for Freak Show on this defense. They can't make it back to this objective. And even though this guy's being dealt with, Riser still has the only kills that Freak Show have been able to get so far in this map.
That's just too much to handle. And the problem is that, of course, loading vendors, they have a tool for each and every single man coming towards them from the enemy team. They can dispose easily with with Zin, the enemy tanks. With Tyra, they counter Sky. They got basically everything. And Muru actually not being killed in that particular action completely disintegrated the enemy backline, so they collapse as soon as possible. And yeah, so many problems for them. They need to find the right response, but I think it's a little bit too late because it was so easy, coming from behind and just watch this team fight unfold. Nice snipe also. Just I don't know about that.
He's been doing that for years at this point, Merlot. I remember we practiced it on SSG to see how you do it, and you don't play against him. He takes a break for like 7 months, comes back, and he's going to get you every single time with those. They don't even get to show up to mid. I didn't think it could look worse than for Freak Show here, but here we are. They're not even in the mid.
Yeah, completely not contested. They're going to give a free point. But also they're using ultimates. They're wasting so many resources in this particular spot. I don't know if that that checks out, I guess, for a couple of kills. Drogus is going to try to be as much aggressive as possible. Remember, comeback mechanics is still inbound, so they can try to take the point, but they need to play a little bit more defensive, not that much aggressive right there. Because if they lose a single guy right now, it's going to be impossible to defend the middle point.
They have Overpower and they have the Ancient Rage, so they have some options, but the way that they're pressuring this gun, it makes it so he can't use the Overpower. He gets trapped in a Thunderdome, but they still have to make it back to the point.
Completely squashed out. The overtime is going to roll down and are, of course, on point, completely unscathed. Of course, the double kill coming in from Muru. Oh, even ultimate just to try to push as much as possible. Yeah, not bad. Incredible operation right there. And of course, that's because you pressed too much the pedal and you went too aggressive on that line. You needed to just get that couple of kills and get back, but they insisted, and now they lost the point.
This guy needed to dismount, but I think he committed a little bit too far for the dismount. But I don't necessarily love how they're playing this at all. I mean, right now, yes, Ancient Rage getting used, but it's Ancient Rage in this meta. It's not doing anything. Here comes the Crossfire to burn him down, and Freak Show now, not even a leg to stand on.
It's kind of a terminus rest, it's just a way for you to get a little bit of a breather, inside the team fight, but it's definitely not for damage. And we saw that everybody's getting punished right now, completely control over the corners. And this Tyra, she's medium range, but she's completely wasting the enemy Drogos right there.
Yeah, they're getting a lot of decent mid-range damage. Not as good as maybe a Vic would have done, but definitely a decent trade. But look at this, actually. Wait, no one is watching Secret ever. They're stacking, and Kartoffel just ran in and killed their Corvus. This is going to... they do end up trading 2 more for it, so loading vendors have to back off. But Riser, they need to maybe have one person turning their head at least. First time it was Zarini, now it was Kartoffel on the Zin. Always somebody trying to stay aggressive in this back line. But they can't push into them. There's a way to lock down every choke on the side for loading vendors.
And nobody from this particular action from loading vendor died, so they gained a lot of tempo. If they manage to actually get that Drogos, they should be, super fine and actually be able to get, of course, the push in. And they got Drogos, they got an ultimate right there. They're trying to push as much as possible. Sky with the ultimate, with the bomb, not successful right there. They all cooped up back in the spawn. Another kill coming in. Of course, that Makoa is completely blocked and isolated, and he is actually behind the car. He's not going to be able to actually touch the point. Double kill coming in with through time and space, and they got an easy 4-0.
Yeah, that aggression at the end, Zarini plus Spunky combining. I mean, Zarini, he had his little... wow, I am just so laser focused, I guess. I just... Listen, what a good game it was, huh? I can't peel my eyes off it. But no, that aggression from Zarini and Spunky, apparently that 1 week of Na'Vi gameplay that they had when he subbed in earlier, definitely helping them out for that coordination there. But that ult, those ults both combined with the slowdown on that and the time and space, just locking them in, so making them have no chance to go in. They just got surrounded, I think. That triple DPS composition, when you play that kind of style, you want to try to get around the enemy team and cap them. If the way the Freak Show played their draft, right, they have to be kind of on top of each other. They have to play in the half shell, they have to play in the smoke bomb, and by playing that style, they walk right into what that triple DPS comp on the other side wants to do.
They can try, but of course you got Moody on the other side with the dead zone, you know? So you can't be all together in the same spot because you're bound to take a lot of damage. But in general, I don't know if this pick for Reister actually worked at all, because he was able to actually get behind the enemy team, but not able to actually pick up a single kill. He was completely alone most of the time. And you can see the difference, you know, with the versus Kartoffel, with the incredible Zin that he actually pulled off. He had the counter for those 2 tanks. You know, he had everything at his disposal to actually get in and get out unscathed. And you can clearly see, you know, from the damage that he actually did, you know, in combination with zigging. So King Nick right there, incredible with Tyra also. A full-on complete counter each and every time. I just think the draft fell out at some point. Like, they didn't have the complete idea or a good matchup to play against. Like, it's just went down into the draft phase.
I mean, but I don't think that Freak Show necessarily have a bad 5 characters, right? I don't think that those 5 characters together you can say on paper that's a bad draft. I think it only becomes bad when you look at the other side. That's what I think really the problem is, right? Like, they did not, I think they just drafted too much for their own gameplay and didn't look at what loading vendors were trying to do. But they were still targeting them, I think, slightly, at least with the Vivian ban. But if you're looking to pick up Makoa that early, maybe give them Vivian. The Vivian's probably more likely to just try to burn through his shield, give him that cooldown back. And then on top of that, you'll get more value out of your Sky that way too, right? If you're always in that shield, you're always cleansing caught, you're always going to be getting more healing from the smoke bomb in general.
I know. I think it's a little bit risky, though, because King Nick had the first pick, though, and they banned Terminus, and we know Terminus, you know, there's not a real counter for Vivian because she just has a rifle, she auto-fires, she's super strong, actually, in the metal. Still.
Oh, I'm not trying to shoot you. I'm sorry. I was
exactly.
I was just trying to be Vivian.
But with Terminus, when you see a Terminus ban, you know, one, you want to play Inara, or 2, you want to absorb as many projectiles as possible from Vivian. So I was expecting a first pick, you know, from the vendors, but that didn't happen because, you know, the others got too scared. They banned Vivian and they went with Inara composition. But of course, if you want to go with Makoa, you need to have that kill potential as soon as you get a single hook. They did, but, you know, Willow didn't die. The others didn't either. So all came down to positioning, you know, to actual gameplay. And, you know, they fell off considerably.
Yeah, I mean, playing around the hook... Nowadays, when you're playing Makoa, at the very least in this meta, it is almost kind of more around the shield than anything. You just have that kind of AoE, protect your team, hold space. But I really don't think they were putting that shield in places that were forcing them to shoot necessarily, or at least going into areas that would help them. Maybe lock down a choke point that they have to go through instead of trying to flank all the way around, giving loading vendors a chance to wrap back to the objective, and then when they drop their shield, it's like, oh, well, behind us.
Yeah.
We'll just go forward. And what do they? Well, they can't.
They
can't do anything
and go back. Yeah.
It's like, did I just run over? Did I just run over a half shell? All right, whatever. I'll just keep driving. Hopefully, no one says anything. That was loading vendors at the end of that game.
Absolutely, and I think we're ready for the next pick and ban phase and see actually what will unfold for the next game. We got Splitstone Quarry. It's been a while, you know, since it's actually casted on this map. As usual, you know, you have verticality, you can play snipers, you can go full-on flankers. Possibilities are endless. You know, it's a very well-rounded map, and you want to use that verticality. You know, you want to get that Androxus, you want to maybe pair it up with a couple of snipers, maybe a Victor, maybe, I don't know, you can go with whatever you heart desires. Even Khan, you know, if you manage to actually put somebody in the drills, you know, with your ultimate, you have so many options. And IO and Torvald, they will be, you know, the forced bans. They're just going to ban those two till the end of times, and maybe Makoa if they really don't want to play against it. But I don't think so.
I'm mostly just shocked that the first pick is banning IO here, because they could get it for themselves. But when you're playing IO on this map. I mean, we saw it in, I want to say we saw it in the minor league last week. For team first picked IO, second pick team just played Robin Ruckus, and the IO literally could not play the game. Probably would have been, I don't know, they could have plugged in a flight stick and played with any controller, any way. It wouldn't have changed anything. That IO still would have just been ran at from start to finish. They're unable to really do much. But the Makoa actually does get banned by loading vendors in response. Yeah. They don't want to play against that shield and that displacement that he has, but it does give Freak Show that free first pick Genos.
And also, that's a super comfortable pick you can have, and basically lets you flex and counter against the enemy team, because you have a support, that's fine. So let's see what they're going to take. Let's see the combo, and let's try to draft around that. And they're going to go with Androxus, of course, because it's just a solid pick. You know, as I said before, verticality, the ability with the accursed arm to do as much damage as possible if people are getting cooped up inside the drill, and stuff like that, or if they go onto the left side of the map, Strix, as I called before, you know, you can play snipers, but now you can, if you're Freak Show, you can full on go with flankers and go aggro against that Strix, or you can pick long and mid range to deal with Androxus. So you got Victor, since Vivian is banned. You still have Tyra, maybe if loading vendors go with something else. You got Rom, because Genos, you know, is banned, so you're forcing probably Grover pick on the enemy side. So many possibilities at this point.
Yeah, there are definitely a lot of choices still up, but I like that they're going for tanks, because loading vendors have already picked 2 DPS. Unless they're going triple, get a tank out of the way, right? You know, they're going to go that direction first, and they also take the Corvus. So now Freak Show, probably going to be solo tank Rom, but they're going to have a double pocket. I'm assuming going to be double flankers as well. So I do like the potential combination here. Loading vendors, though, now, do they just, I'm not sure if they just play for sustain. Do they play for poke or maybe some form of CC to stop them from coming in? I would like a Grover even here. The roots on whatever Freak Show have double pockets on could help a lot. Just having them stopped and having constant, of course, AoE healing and damage combined with your team works. But I do like that they went the direction of the Khan. I like having that against the ROM in particular, not only because of the commander's grab to stop his dash, but you farm overpowers so fast. And if you're just getting and hitting all your overpowers, the game is hard to lose.
Maldamba has the escape and survivability thanks to the Gorge. You also are drafting somebody who will basically pocket Khan as much as possible, you know, and bounce off Strix very well, you know, because you can just use a right click, then go back and hide somewhere else. But at this point, they draft Victor instead of flankers. They can still go with Meve, they can still go with Zin, they can even take Lex at this point, and they go with Lian. So couple of pocket healer, single tank, double long range DPS against a sniper, a flanker who goes, you know, up in the sky. I don't know about Androxus, but it's going to be really hard for him to actually get into fights and just hover the enemy team. It's going to be extremely complicated. And they use Sky once again. They really want to go with Sky. I don't know about that. I'm super confused by the loading vendor strats right now.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense, I think, for having that extra bit of sustain on the inside. I think now that you're going to be sitting inside of the quarry, you're just going to drop the smoke and dagger there if you get pushed, right? You have that healing. If the ROM tries to go to point or dive you, he's just going to get melted. They're going to charge ults faster. They're not going to necessarily play super aggressive, I think. They're going to just try to sit inside because there's just 2 backlines on the side of Freak Show. They're going to sit above and spam down, but not much else really. Leon maybe can get aggressive, but I feel like they're going to need an opening that I'm not sure loading vendors is going to try to give them.
Well, we'll see the actual answer inside the game because we're ready to actually witness game 2 and see if something changes. You know, there's always the possibility. The ability is right there. So, okay. And Storm of Bullets on Khan as a single tank.
Yeah, I think that's okay. I think Storm Bullets is fine. It really is preference, and also this map is has such a height differential that you're probably getting shot over your head anyway. They're probably not even hitting your shield as is. So just have something to trade a little bit better and charge your ult faster off of that ROM when he tries to get aggressive. But the 2 standouts to me are Debilitate, so no smoke bomb healing, none of that bonus to help them on the inside of that quarry. It'll mostly to be looking at the ROM, I'd assume, and Alacrity on the other side, so that Leon is going to be focused on the mobility, which it's a build that Mutu on the other side actually ran and kind of popularized a little bit, but it's going to be a Leon focused on snowballing, and we'll see if Freak Show can get that lead to really roll down with it.
If they can pull it off, actually, right now they're trying to push as much as possible inside the enemy backline with this ROM already placed right there and able to survive the onslaught of damage right there. He actually get picked up, you know, but he still has that sustain, man. Gained a lot of tempo, but, you know, all the time that he was in the backline, nobody actually picked up a kill. He created space for sure, but that didn't, you know, turned out to be or capitalized in a very aggressive action. No kills at all, actually.
Yeah, not much to do. Riser does finally get one, but Mutu and the Kanzarini dive onto him eventually.
Yeah, 2-for-1.
I want to say, I think Illuminate's going to have some crazy value for Freak Show later in the game because they are against a Sky and a Strix. But look at this, actually. The ROM gets aggressive and forces out the Strix.
And they actually got a double kill thanks to Preface right there. They're actually going to go for a third one. If they manage to actually take control of the point right now, push them inside the spawn and get the high ground at that point, they have complete control of the map. Of course, the armor is going to be completely wasted. Victor, super tough time for Androxus right there to just fire against the Victor. Preface takes another couple of kills right there. They got control. And they're going to just, you know, get the spawn, block those mounts, and block the enemy reinforcements.
Yeah, they disengage to the high too and make it really hard to get in, but they don't know Mutu's there necessarily. I'm not sure if his build has enough hidden in it, but never mind. The ROM manages to rotate out and no way to get by Freak Show. Better than I thought it was going to be at the start. They managed to get a point.
Oh, and that stun just came through out of nowhere. They got another kill. Victor right there, completely counterbalancing the act of Victor. And yeah, completely unscathed. They're blocked. They can't do pretty much anything at this point. And the card is still, you know, moving over and over and over.
Yeah, manages to go forward. Look at this aggression by King. I mean, Sniper can win that fight, but not when the backup is really here. The Andro might fight it, but has to actually bail.
I don't know, super tough time for this Andro to actually fight against Victor over and over and over, and we see that. And against the Lian too, you know, super hard time for him. Another kill maybe on Sky. No, actually Sky completely unscathed from this singular action. They got a couple of kills back, but it's still a trade, back and forth trade right here and then. ROM with the sustain, trying to take two people at once. He actually manages to survive once again. And yeah, they're completely pushed off. Khan is gonna die soon after if they focus all the forces inside the enemy backline, and right there they got another kill right out of the bat.
Yeah, getting these staggered kills is going to help them out significantly. They just have to be careful not to overextend, barely actually avoiding that shot there on the side. But I like this slow take that they're playing. They have this double backline, so they kind of have to play like this. But Preface, okay, he lives that somehow. I don't know how, but now Mutu's going to just run him down and way too fast, I think. Had to wait for his ROM to make something happen first.
They still got a full minute though, so even if they die now, even if they stagger, they got a lot of time left to just get back into the fight. 43 to go, and Drugs is trying to find the victor. Janos, a super unscathed right there, super save thanks to the grip, and ROM is gonna clean up the kill.
Yeah, getting that kill on Kartoffel definitely makes this defense a little bit harder, but they don't really have a great way in. No, wait, they backed up off top, actually. King Nick giving that space to let him in, but they don't want to take it. They back up, and an ult comes in to try to trade something else out, but they don't find anything.
They can actually try to get Zarini if they manage to, you know, get the shield down. Zarini completely low on health. Maldamba still has the ultimate. The stun is not going to hit anybody. Onto the other side, we see Androxus has the accursed arm. He's trying to escape completely out of the fight with 38 HP. Leon tries to find him, and there you go. That's another kill. They got the overtime. Androxus is down, so no verticality. They just need to do one last push and get a couple of kills. There's another one a little bit before the ultimate comes in for Victor, and that's going to be a ton of damage coming in. Leon also has the ultimate, so that means survivability and tons of damage too. They got the push. They got the 2-0. And that was incredible. They just managed to go for an on-gun fight for 60 seconds. They just managed to do a 60 seconds fight over and over and over and survive it.
I mean, I doubted the double backline. I know it's okay on this map, but I really do like triple DPS, especially with flankers. That loading vendors were able to run, but I mean, Prephase and Riser are just running away with this game so far. Both of them pair really well with Corvus and Genos. Corvus, of course, getting lifesteal from the Victor, and he has his own that's stacking up with it, so Victor very hard to kill. plus all of Leon's abilities count as weapon attacks, so she's getting the Corvus and Genos boost on her Q, her F, and her right click. I have different binds, so it just took me a minute to remember what the buttons are, what the buttons are for the normal people that play Paladins.
I really wonder why you have different keybinds, you know?
It's a long thing, but look at this aggression. Preface has been staying so aggressive in all of these rounds, and I want to see how loading vendors adapt.
I don't think they do, because they actually lost another kill right there. Corvus using the ultimate to gain tempo once again. Sky tries to touch the point, you know, get a little bit of sustain right there. They're gonna try that. They're completely split. There you go. Fidget spinner, that's a free kill right there. But you used your ultimate, so you need to get the point and a couple of kills more. Just a couple of kills more right there.
The pre-phase, he has to be the one to engage. I think that's just the way his comp is set up. He's the only one that can really get aggressive that fast. But when he goes in and insta-dies, not much else you can do, and loading vendors are the ones setting the pace aggressively now.
First skill goes off, you know, King Nick and the other are completely controlling the situation. They got the payload thanks to the comeback mechanic, and they just need to push it through, you know. If they manage to take another kill on Rom, and it is possible, you know, those counterizes are coming in fast into this mid to late game, they can actually make it. And right now they got another kill thanks to King Nick, and Droxus tries to counteract the enemy team. The bomb comes in, you can control completely the backup zone, and the Cursed Worm also is still online, so it's gonna go back, tries to take another kill thanks to a couple of 1-2 shots, and yeah, complete domination right there.
Kartoffel surviving that somehow. That's his second narrow escape that I've seen coming out from him here, but look at this actually. Look at this push from Freak Show in the backline. There's people waiting for it, and they're getting collapsed on.
Completely sneaky. He managed to actually get a lot of weight. Maybe another kill up against the Corvus. The other kill, and with Genos, it's a triple kill right there. Incredible from him. He got the space, he got the payload, he got the control. If they manage to take Rom, it's gonna be a 2-on-2, and they got him.
The back cap from Kartoffel. I don't even, it was like a front cap though. They knew he was there. They just chose to ignore him and then couldn't get a kill on the other side. So 2 for him. Let them roll it in. Loading vendors literally not stopped that entire time. Kartoffel dominating them on that back side, and Freak Show really slowed down immediately. I think it's just the way these comps work, though. If pre-phase does not pop off, if he does not dash in, get a kill, get a dash reset, dash again, if that doesn't happen, I don't know how Freak Show really win this. They're playing into a tank with an execute. They're playing into a stealth character that can just cap in front of them, and you can tell that that's a problem because look at the Illuminates. They are rushing now on the side of Freak Show.
Yeah, and at this point, you know, for a single mistake, but not capitalizing on that single kill on Kartoffel, they got the payload pushed. They actually got a couple of kills. You know, they lost both their supports out of nowhere. And the problem is because Genos and Corvus were spread apart. So with Genos, at least you have the grip to kind of try to counteract against the enemy on Droxus, but at this point, you know, they got nothing, and if you're Corvus, you just manage to escape. Now they're gonna try to take another kill, you know, with the fruit time and space combination. They got in. Zarini actually dead from that. Okay. And yeah, they're gonna try to push once again into the backline. Rom completely uncountered for most of the matchup. If he manages to take the Moldamba, they're gonna have a huge buff right there. And yeah, he's controlling 3 people inside the backline.
Fanashman, he's alive though. Whoa, what is this? A point blank ult, and the Rom ult doesn't hit either. They just spent 2 ults at a door frame and couldn't get anything else done. The attempt at the snowballs here, but they counter pre-phase right away. And
pre-phase, of course, dead. He couldn't make the play, but of course, they got control of the single point. They're gonna lose it soon after, but that was a great play right there. Very aggressive. Turns out they didn't get a single kill, but that's okay. They still got plenty of time. They just need to find out how they can manage the enemy team in this particular action. They need to find a kill right now, and maybe they got the point. Watch out for loading vendors.
Pre-phase on the flank is really what they have to pay attention to here on this retake, but they're not capping. They got forced off because of that entropic breach, but Kartoffel is putting on so much pressure and doesn't have the dash reset to get around.
Yeah, but look out for King Nick. Maybe he can turn the table, you know? He just needs to find maybe Leanne, maybe another one. 87%. Nobody's touching the point, actually. They're too scared of going against Khan and the others. Sky gets the kill, of course, but not before dying, though. And the point is still in full-on loading vendors control. And I really don't understand why they didn't try to actually get in at least a little bit since they have the ROM. That's a big mistake right there, and they are basically near and next to the match point.
I want to point out, by the way, Zarini already has another overpower. This is just what happens when you play Khan into Rom. Spunky holding onto his ults too. Freak Show just get wiped. I didn't even realize that happened. Kartoffel comes over the top with an accursed arm, wipes the back line, and everyone else tries frantically to get one kill onto Zarini. Just can't do it, and now they're stuck in their spawn having to wait to come out. This Rom Leon aggression, it can work, but it is inconsistent. And Freak Show have really put all their eggs in the pre-phase, please carry us basket. We'll see if they can make something else happen, but even now they're spending ults just to get out of their spawn doors.
What? They got a victory out of that? They got 2 out of that? Oh no!
Oh my god.
Right there. And Mudu actually carried the entire game right there with a single bomb. They got a double action going on. And yeah, they basically won the game. 2-0. From, you know, a losing perspective, that's incredible. They lost the first 2 fights. They lost the first 2 points. They didn't have that, you know, that big of a draft. They actually were going pretty down versus those 2 DPS from long range. But then all of a sudden, you know, they started losing traction. And I don't know why they didn't try to contest the particular point onto the free. But that paid off big time because, you know, they didn't even try to do and contest that, and they lost out of nowhere thanks to a single bomb.
I think they played the bait game a little bit better into the back. Whenever that Leon and Rom tried to get aggressive, they managed to play away from it, and that helped, I think, significantly pre-phase. I'm pretty sure, he was I want to say 9-4 when that first round ended, and he ended the game 12-13. So a pretty big flip in how he was performing. I think just the ability to push another lane and shut them down helped significantly. They're unable to have pre-phase do anything. And he also didn't have cauterize. So if he dove someone and they got healed, early game it was, I guess, okay with that Chronos, but he couldn't end up keeping it up as the game went long.
And the damage is also there. So he was consistent throughout the game. But the problem we saw with pre-phase was the single engage, you know, against Kartoffel. So they were trading blows left and right, but he wasn't actually able to shut down Kartoffel for so much time. He was able to, you know, just escape, trying to refresh, you know, use those dashes and get away to safety. And that would really bit them off because, of course, during those engages, you all actually took a lot of damage. Then you need to go back. The attention of your supports is completely split. And Mudu actually not super effective during the entirety of the game. You know, he was here and there, but the last play completely made the game. So, you know, watch out for him at this point, even if he picks Sky, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Mutu, I mean, he's been playing a lot of Sky on stream. He's played Sky with this team before. Even some of the games that were off stream, I believe he was playing Sky. So they clearly just believe in the pick. They think it can work, and I think it can too. Clearly, having just that burst damage helps a lot, and of course having that little bit of extra healing. I'm gonna pull up the win rates again, but I'm pretty sure Sky is still one of the highest winning champions in the PPC in general. Actually, Jithens, I know that the cast can't hear you, but do you have these kind of stats for PCML, like champion win rate stats? No. Okay, so I can get the PPC ones to make up for that potentially.
You're just making stuff up, Kristnik. It's fine. You do your research. I'll tell you what, for sure, you know, the fact that he just plays
number
Sky,
5.
It's a
top 5.
Number 5? Top 5, okay.
Top 5 win rate with 21 games played. So it's not like a 5 games where she won 3. It's 13-8. For the Sky in the PPC, 62% win rate. So clearly it's working, and it's not just the best teams that are doing it either. It's a little bit of everybody making this Sky work.
I think people are scared because you can play Illuminate against her, but also that's a huge economical burden because you need to buy actually items that just counteract her action. But at this point, I think we're ready for a little bit of a pause, a little bit of a break. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back for you. And welcome back to the minor league. My name is Merlo. With me, Kresnik, this way, by the way. This is so confusing because I have you on both of my screens, so I really don't know.
Can you put me behind you too? Actually, wait, I see myself behind you. I'm in the reflection of your window.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm all around you, man. You can just look anywhere. I'll be there.
You can actually see I'm full on RGB. You know, I'm in the crew of those pretty lights and stuff. But yeah, in general, I really need to loosen myself up a little bit, you know, just getting to the flow of these games, because they're pretty games, you know, they're pretty interesting, to be honest. The meta, while not shifting too much from top priority picks, still gives you so many chances to witness so many different picks, you know?
Mm-hmm.
You know, you still have, you know, that Vivian, you still have the Makoa, you still have that Io, but in general, there's so much possibility for different strats. We even saw Lex for a couple of times just because Torvald was not banned at that point. But what do you think about the meta in general? Since now it's been, what, 3 to 4 weeks after the patch? Something like that?
I'm happy with it because I think you can play a little bit of anything. Right? I feel like there's almost no tank you can't play. I feel like there's almost no, I'm trying to think of DPS you can't really play. I mean, sometimes, yeah, blasters with the servers is probably the only one that's like maybe iffy. You know, maybe if you're on NA and things have been a little sus, you probably don't play Bomb King just in case if it's been a rough day for that. But I feel like you can play literally anything. I mean, I have the stats from the PPC up for me, and everything's been played. I think the least played character in the entirety of everything is Moji, and that makes sense. Everyone else is at least in double digits in terms of wins and losses. So everything's getting played, and everything's about around 50-50. It's as close as it can get.
And we definitely know the shortcomings of Moji in particular. Mm-hmm. And it's been a long time. You know, I would love to see not a rework, but because I really like her kit, but in general, some better numbers and stats in general, just to make her viable, you know, inside the flank compositions. But we're ready to go into picks and bans and see what's going to happen and see actually if we're going to see a little bit of a difference into into this final of EU. And remember, of course, EU, you also have your top picks. You still going to have the ban of Io, and probably Vivian is going to be the next, and Torvald. Those are going to be our top main three. It may be a flex one or like a respect ban for King Nick or the others. But apart from that, everybody, is off the handle. And in Stonekeep in particular, another pretty basic, pretty standard map where you can play snipers. We saw the double DPS. We saw the long range. Something tells me that we can see something like that once again,
Yeah, you
maybe
can see maybe Strix. We could see the long range DPS. There's a lot of different, I think, options here. And Naraban is really interesting. That must be a target to Vino Rosso, I guess, on Crescent, but I've seen him play Inara well. I just don't know if he's particularly uncomfortable on it. Off of it, excuse me, in particular here. But Inara and Torvald both banned by loading vendors. I don't know if we're going to see Vivian banned, and we're not going to. I think that was a specific freak show ban to try to target King Nick on the side of loading vendors. But they have first pick up. They have Genos and Corvus available. Genos, of course, we saw him get first pick both games in the last set. Wouldn't be surprised to see that happening here again, especially after Spunky with the consistent ult that he had coming out of Jaguar Falls. There's a similar one here, and we might see Spunky go for it since they do end up taking that first.
At this point, with Genos, we saw Genos Corvus actually, but, Rom really becomes an opportunity for loading vendors. It's going to be Xin for Crescent, and we're going to find out which kind of healer they want to take, or if they want to go with a tank at this point, since McCoy and Ara are banned, so you want to get the best tank at your disposal. You want to get another ROM at this point because you have a Genos.
Terminus makes sense. With the Inara band and Makoa band too, I think is a really big deal. I think the Makoa being banned means you can't get hooked through your Siphon. So that Terminus is going to be a little bit more effective. Plus, if Crescent decide to go like a blaster angle, I don't know if I would because you want some long range here. But if they go like Bomb King and Xin, they don't lose keep. There's no way they lose keep with a Terminus Siphon to lead them in with all that AoE behind them. But Rom on the other side, going to be tough to play that Rom into that Terminus. I think the Siphon being in the way. But as long as the Rom just outpaces him, goes for the other sides of the map, and gets followed up on by... We'll see whatever flanker potentially gets picked up here to pair with him. They could just ignore the term and go for the rest of them, but they're going to get Khan instead, and that's going to be Crescent's the loading vendor's potential answer to Crescent's Terminus.
So at this point, Rom is completely uncountered, and he can do, once again, whatever he wants, unless Crescent goes for a Grover, which is still a possibility, because they need to fill up with a healer. So that could be a nice fit, a nice composition right there. But on top of that, you have so much potential with Khan and Rom. Khan, of course, also in this particular map on Stonekeep, you have so many opportunities in defense and in attack to use that ultimate and get that free kill. Because you have so many open spaces, so many balconies you can pop enemies off of. So good for them. Very, very NA kind of composition right there for loading vendors. I
agree.
I'm really happy for that. And the Corvus coming in for Crescent, and Shaolin with a crippling blow to actually block them. Okay, also that prevents to have super aggressive flankers from loading vendor's side. So I really like the Shaolin pick right there.
Yeah, I do too, and I think it'll be good to fight them. Also, they have the CEO of Shaolin on their team, so I think they legally have to pick Shaolin. I want to make a quick note before I talk about this, Vivian. The Rom Khan pick, I didn't think about it right away, but I think playing it into the Xin is super smart. That's to counter Guillotine. That's to deal with Guillotine, because Khan can shout through the Guillotine. Rom doesn't really die to Guillotine because of his soul armor. There's some weird interaction where it doesn't really do the percentage right, so he just lives through it almost all the time. Guillotine doesn't really get value, and if he tries to go for an ult with it, Vivian or Strix will take him down. Vivian into that Shaolin, fantastic matchup. The sensor drone makes it so hard for him to ult or for him to get away in general at all. And Xin isn't really the best at crossing space to get into the backline, so having a Strix there too is a lot of damage they're going to have to deal with, and apparently I'm giving you a headache, man. I'm so sorry.
This from loading vendors, this composition is bananas, because they have what they really want, because, they wanted to pick that Genos. They really definitely wanted to have Rom and Khan, against Xin. So that's a pretty penny pick for them. But also in general, they picked Shaolin. okay, so you want to counter, our flankers, stuff like that. We're not going to pick flankers. We're going to pick direct counters for Shaolin, as you said before, with the sensor for Vivian, and also a long-range pick with Strix. And Strix is going to be super pocketed by Genos, so in general, it's going to be alive and kicking, The only maybe incognito kind of pick is Eevee, because if Eevee has free range to actually go against Strix and get that kill and go back with Wormhole, that's going to be a problem. But in general, I think Loading Vendors completely outdrafted Crescent right now. But we're ready to jump into the into the game right now after those picks and see what you really think about these two composition. And you tell me if you think that Crescent is a little bit below the curve, or if they actually can manage to do this game and actually get a win.
I don't know if I love them still taking G18 here, because I feel like the tanks just eat it. They really, I mentioned it before, but those tanks are kind of particularly picked as counters to it, so I don't know if I love it. But look at this, they're fighting them inside keep with that Terminus in the way, kind of feeding the Siphon, but the Siphon doesn't come up. Shaolin just gets taken from 100 to 0 right away.
Completely annihilated, and that's a second kill that is gonna come up soon after. A couple of kills more, they got complete domination right there, and yeah, that's done and donezo. They got control of the point. They got also this magnificent angle with Rom, and nobody can actually touch the point right there. You can't actually touch the point.
They have time. They have time. There's 54%. True. They can wait and regroup, and they're getting poke. I think they're taking it slow. That's exactly how they have to do this, but they're solo tank. They have to send one person in, and look, the slow play manages to get them a ROM pick to start things off.
Complete meltdown of the team fight right there. Of course, ROM is going to go down, but that goes the other way around. They still have time to actually get back to the point, and we saw a little bit of EV action right there. Not super strong. They're just trying to check the angle. We will see the caster coming in. He has control. He has verticality. Rom actually trying to do as much push and pressure as possible, but I don't see any difference right there. Actually, ooh, that's going to be a huge pick for them because the tank is down. They don't have enough damage to actually take this King Nick right there with the Blaster Shield, of course, with the damage. Double kill coming easily for him. And yeah, they got control of the point. They got 3 kills in a row. And it's just going to be Shaolin who's going to get shot down soon after.
Yeah, Kofix, aka CEO of Shaolin, is really going to struggle here in this game. Not only is he dealing with the sensor drone from the Vivian when he ults or just dashes in general, Strix also has a flare, so his invisibility basically doesn't exist. He's going to have to deal with that pretty much the entirety of this game, but Mutu barely staying alive. That shot not hitting him near the very end. Kofix pausing the game for them to take stock here, but not looking great, I think, so far for Crescent. The retake wasn't bad. The fact that they killed that ROM was solid, but Zerini's getting really close to his overpower. They're going to have that really soon. Just grab the turn with it. They're solo tank anyway, and then run it through after that. You'll probably charge your overpower pretty quick even if you do that.
The problem also was that with that overtake, they gained a single pick. They lost 3 people into action, so not super worth it for them. I mean, the slow play was, the right kind of play right there, but they needed to think of it a little bit more. Maybe a little bit of a safer positioning could have been the key for that fight, but Shaolin right now taking even more pressure out of this card. They need to find just the right defense and right positioning. They have good picks, but they just need to find the right altitude.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how they end up getting through here. But look at this hold right now from Crescent. They're kind of far back. Zerini actually just sneaks right past them, and Spunky just can't miss with this, man. The Shaolin struggling so far. He falls, and Kartoffel's deep in the backline.
The struggle is real. Also for Terminus, is going to go down pretty easily. And look at the damage coming in from Vivian. You said nerf, in the patch, but she's still super strong as all time, in general. Pressure is there. You have that big shield, that covers you for the majority of the team fight. You also have extra damage with the ultimate, so Vivian, super scary if you don't have a way to counteract that action. Shaolin tries to do as much damage as possible once again, but there are no visible targets, and even right there is going to die soon after. With the enemy team. Yeah.
Using the cart there was fantastic. I liked how Spunky played that kite back, put the cart in the way. There's no way to really get finish off there near the end. The card's getting close here, but they actually get off when it gets close. That lets them get the respawns, and now Loading Benders have to get another fight that they kind of let the other team have.
They notice it actually. They noticed the Strix coming in from the back, you know, trying to hit a couple of shots. They also have the tanks are coming in. They don't want to waste any resources. They're actually backing up once again. Zarini in a very tough spot right there. King Nick actually getting shot at. And yeah, I think they won't be able to actually push and get that point. But still hope they have plenty of resources, you know, for the next matchup. They're going to be fine.
Yeah, they should be all right here. Well, actually,
maybe
Kartoffel actually makes it in. But I don't know if Fidoras can follow up here. They're getting close, but Kartoffel, he's already very low. Zarini's gonna have to retouch.
One actually, yeah, was able to touch it. They got the ultimates. They can manage to find a kill on Zin or one of the others. Yes, right there. They got one on Casper. They're gonna try for the overtake, but no can do. They tried for the retake onto that payload. The action was there, but Zin, too much pressure, and he also actually went unscathed and was completely alive. So, I don't know, the entire action was a little bit, you know, confusing. Not super straight right there.
Yeah, I think the fact that they had an extended fight helps a little bit, though, because they got Zarini closer to his ultimate. I think having that overpower going to be important, so get that charge up. We'll see what he can do from it, but Spunky has his ult. He hasn't really been missing them, so we'll see what he can find with it on this rollout. Looking at the other side, though, there's a lot of ults up for Crescent. Literally everything. So, honestly, Spunky's time and space has to go massive here.
Time and space, maybe? Oh,
okay.
That was huge!
That counts. I think that counts as massive. would you agree, Merlo? I'm sorry.
Absolutely. That was a fine-tuned full time and space right there.
I mean, that's the lineups, and people just don't get... They're not ready for it. Spunky does this like every other map, and people just forget because he hasn't been in the game for a while. Spunky going for these spawn ults. We're pretty consistently here, but the tanks are pressuring, and they're ulting here, but the ult just gets blocked by the Terminus, and it might fall up front.
Just 90% left. You know, they tried to take it with the Eevee. A little bit of point. The Terminus actually ulting in, so they need to back and regroup, but they got a lot of time right there. They got a lot of time, a lot of percentage. They just need to find, you know, the con back, and they will actually be able to join back into the fight and maybe take a couple of kill or two.
And they've actually baited the Eevee on the far right, so if they rotate quickly, they can find picks without Casper really being able to help. And Guillotine.
Yep.
That's why you don't run Guillotine against this tank composition, but Rengo runs it, can't get the kill off, and now Loading Vendors have a 5-4 advantage.
Yeah, you're sitting duck basically when you're trying to ult. The Charlene completely crying over the full shield of the Vivian. King Nick. Super damage from him, you know, the shield, he was able to tank everything. Sometimes, I don't really even see Vivian as a DPS. It's just a semi-tank, you know? She's going to be able to absorb the full-on ults and still be able to survive and actually deal damage.
The shield is a big deal with that, I think. King Nick utilizing it fairly well, and I think a lot of people are going to start leaning more towards the shield build, would suspect. Everyone with Scapegoat helps a lot, especially against Eevee, but wow, 2 picks immediately on defense. Crescent just aren't never lucky here on this defense.
Absolutely, and right now Robin basically takes another one. Of course, Muru supporting from the far line. They get control, they got pressure, they're all backed up in the spawn. Terminus does not have an ultimate yet, so they're gonna be fine. The card is moving. And if they find a kill with the sniper, you know, with the Strix, they're going to be able to push and get another point.
Look at Sereni's position. I love that right now. Him just standing on the very edge here. And actually, whoa, Casper's not ready for this ROM behind him. They use a rapid shot to try to kill Kartoffel, but he just walks out. And 1-for-1 here, but Vivian might be able to get back in time to help.
A rapid touch, you know, a rapid heal right there. They got 1 minute and 20. That's a lot of time for them. And there you go, there's another kill that they take, thanks to, of course, Charlene in combination with the Zin. Muru is down, but they need to find a way to actually deal with this ROM. Because he's still alive, you know, he does whatever he pleases, and he's going to be able to actually touch the point as much time as possible. And he also has ultimate.
Yeah, the ult is going to be a big deal, but he has to do it away from the Terminus. Term can actually block Rom ult if he siphons just a little bit downward, stopping all of that progress from coming in. But it looks like Rom is actually going to be their target. He is thrown way into the back line. They're not going to use their reanimate most likely, but they don't have a tank now for this offense. If they can get one more pick, this could roll right in.
Yeah, that's true. And also, how can you absorb it when you have no tank at your disposal? You're gonna have a free step, you're gonna have free damage, and that's a completely given 3-1 point. That was a full-on gift from them. I don't know why.
Yeah. I mean, I know it's the holiday season, but Sign Steel delivered that point, went straight to loading vendors after that one pick. And that was off of what, one con grab? Not even Vortex grip, not even an overpower. He just grabbed him with the E, pulled him into the team, and I think they had to res to hold that. Generoso might want to invest in some resilience, even without the stun on the grab. Just not getting thrown into the back line will help significantly.
You know, I'm all about managing resources, you know, have to spend ultimates at the right moment, at the right time, but you're now bound to have a match point with also a one-game advantage coming in from loading vendors. So you definitely want to have, in general, you know, as much control as possible. You want to survive. You want to get back into the fight and not risk it at the last point and last possible second. But, you know, seems to be that Casper actually takes a kill right there. You know, there's a trade-off with Zarini. They just need to find maybe another one. Maybe the back-end healer, if they can actually, no can do. Actually, he survives. He actually survives that, though.
Yeah, I honestly, that's shocking to me. Look at this, though. Look at Mutu going in for the touch here. He gets OT. They still only have 2 people in. There has to be King Nick, and I don't know if they have the health really to do it, but, well, they just can't kill this Vivian. He buys time for Zarini.
So much time, and King Nick basically went toe-to-toe against 2 people. Oh, Casper is going to try so hard to get that kill onto the Genos, and Genos is just going to escape. Look at how many shots he's able to dodge and avoid. It just needs one single shot. He lost so much timing, even though he has the double kill. My God, this payload. Oh, man, it was hard fought.
Yeah, I mean, really tough there for Casper, not able to connect shots. Maybe you plug in the sticks and get some Avis to help him out on that one next time, if that was him in chat talking about it before. But great jukes over there by Spunky. Overpower actually used defensively early by Zarini. They get the Terminus from it, but I guess they have plenty of time to charge another one. This will help them get in and take some more space.
And at this point, King Nick is also back with his ultimate in a couple of seconds. He just needs to, you know, find a couple shots. But once again, so much time lost for Casper. And I don't know if it was panicking at that point. I don't know if it was trying to, you know, predict the enemy movement. But so much time wasted. Yes, they got the point, but look at this, you know, full-on offense. We're on the offense from Crescent, right? We are pushing this card, right? Am I correct? Doesn't seem so, because they're all backed up into the spawn. They're dying one after the other and wasting a huge amount of time.
And I want to point out real quick, love watching that booby trap value come in. That little juggle from the sensor drone onto the Shaolin makes that fight basically unwinnable on the knock-up there, but maybe a little too far forward to get one. But oh my God, Mutu just deletes Casper from existence. He gets to stay alive up here, and Kofix probably doesn't have a chance to win this.
And maybe to get another one, actually, you know, he has the flare, he has a way to spot the enemy team. A mid-air shot, you know, survivability thanks to all the others and thanks to Genos. Look at how much damage he can deal inside fights. Don't even a half a second before taking those shots, man. He's incredible.
Sniper, by the way. Sniper, by the way, doing close range 1200s to anyone who gets near him seems okay here. Casper on a really deep flank. I guess he's going for a back cap, but they all know, I mean, Eevee's not particularly quiet, but this is a good amount of space that Crescent are actually making by having Casper behind. They have to know that he's there, so Crescent can maybe play off of that if they push forward.
And that's why you pick Strikes instead of Kinessa. It's just, you know, 1200 damage out of the bat. As soon as you want, you just need to find the right target, you know, and that's the beauty of life. And once again, Casper is gonna try to find a kill against the Genos. No, can't do it. He still doesn't find it. Oh my God, I'm dying inside. It took him nearly 10 to 12 seconds to actually get that kill, and they are back in overtime.
Unfortunate. It doesn't really end up mattering. They probably weren't going to cap this anyway.
True.
As long as they don't res, things should be okay. But look at this pressure Up front here, they're going to get some more time. I think they just want to charge some ults to get Mutu that flashbang as quick as you can. You know the Crescent have all theirs, so the longer the fight goes, it's not really any worse. Just get your credits, get your ult charge, and keep pushing your advantage as you go in. King Nick also now has the censored runs for the next fight too, so decent advantage to play off of here. The flankers for Crescent are having a great job, but I mentioned as we were going in, this is going to be a very difficult game for Kofigs on the Shaolin, and I think it's showing with the 6 and 14 that he's currently riding out as this game goes on.
And remember what I said, it's all back on Casper, falls on back on Casper. If he managed to actually get the Genos and maybe Muru, if he finds them, it's going to be easy for them to then just rush over and collapse on the enemy team. But you've seen those engages, you've seen that 1v1 experience of Casper against the enemy Genos. He wasted so much time, and
I feel so bad, man. We keep harping on him, but I mean, Spunky has great movement. It's really hard to do that. That might be a mistake, having a wormhole in the middle of the point as Kofigs gets caught up by time and space after.
And everybody's gonna die soon after. That's a double kill right there, but no respawn, because of course you can't do that when the enemy team is completely on you, and you don't have any backup, from your team. But it's gonna be quite the slow and painful death probably. The damage coming in, those ones are getting popped off. But what I said before, you can find the kill as Casper. You need to find that kill on Genos, maybe on Mutu. But when Mutu is the shots you're bound to go on Genos. Perfect. You need to find the kill though. They need to lose that healer, and right now they're just collapsing on top of one another, trading a couple of blows. But Mutu's still alive and still a lot of damage at his disposal to actually deal with the Zin. But Zil is going to be able to actually get the kill. He's going to push homeward and he's going to push forward. And still have the guillotine. He's going to get pushed back. But Shout is completely stomped and blocked between two ferns. And yeah, no can do.
Look at this right now.
Yeah.
You can take it here. Kartoffel was up top here, but actually pushes them around. They're managing to stay alive. Zarini is still capping, though, and they have to get on the point soon.
Yeah, definitely do that. Loading vendors, they're going to have full control of the point. Casper completely alone is going to try to find Mutu, but Genos is going to block him. Once again, they're trying everything at their disposal, but the tank is dead. Of course, next one is going to be the flanker. They're completely blocked off, and it's going to be an amazing victory for Loading Vendors right there.
I like the little Loading Vendors album cover they had at the very end with everybody standing on. You had the whole team in that post-game screen with one of them taunting, everyone else just waiting for that game to be over. Loading Vendors. I liked how they played into their draft. I think that double backline, I think they really won that game at the start. So props to Crescent for putting up the fight that they did. Honestly, with the comp set up that the way it was. So hard to get into that Strix. Vivian, King Nick kind of just ran away with it. Very easy for him to stay alive when he was getting pressured. That Eevee couldn't really handle that Vivian very well. They needed the Zin there too, but there was always something in the way to stop the flanker's dive from working out the way they wanted it to.
Yeah, as I said before, during the draft phase, they picked what they wanted. They wanted the ROM, they wanted the Khan, and in general, they got the Genos as a first pick. So the core of the team was there, and they were happy with it. But also, they completely outdrafted the enemy team. That Shaolin was completely bluffed by Vivian. Mutu was actually able to shut down each and every time Casper, with a single shot. So yeah, that was extremely hard to play against with. But in general, also, I think the execution that came down with each and every single fight and single engagements was very telling. In general, there was not a single time that we saw, Loading Vendors in a very critical or tough spot. They always seem to have the full-on control of the entire situation, and it shows, at the end of the day, they got the win. Maybe that little point, that little smudge in that scoreboard because they were not perfect, but in general, they conducted a very stable, normal, and concrete fight.
Yeah, I mean, even Crescent, when they were able to win the fight, just not able to really get much further forward. They used the ability to actually get some heads turned to get behind and make that work from there, but really could not get much further than that. Loading Vendors, I think, continue to establish themselves on the top here, but still more game to go. We can head into picks and bans for the next map and see what Loading Vendors can do here. And if Crescent can really turn it around, Crescent, it's their map choice. They want Jaguar Falls. We'll see exactly how they approach this map, what they change up here. Loading Vendors are looking like a very powerful team, but Crescent They got some blood last round and might be able to do more on their own map.
First pick is so tempting on Jaguar Falls because you have so many picks that you can actually take. They're super juicy, you can go with Io, you can go with Makoa. In general, you can pretty much, make some particular pick survive the ban and then go with it. So they want to ban the King Nick Vivian, and that's okay because Vivian was super hard to deal with, last game. Apart from, the vision against Charlene, the spotting, etc., was just the amount of damage and tankiness that she got inside each and every fight. Xin is banned, so Io is completely on the table, and there you go. That's going to be the first pick. So you have the full-on support at your disposal. If you're loading vendors, you can respond with the Genos, once again, with the same combination of Khan and Rom and Janos, so anything really. But if you want to pick a support, it's time to pick maybe right now a tank and a DPS that you really want.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked to see Janos Rom here. If they want to run down this IO, even Janos Ruckus, but it's going to be Janos Rom. They want to just run down this IO. That's how you're going to deal with it. Yeah, pressure is what beats Io. If you can actually get onto her and stop her from surviving, Io can't really handle it. They need other people to peel for the Io. If you don't have that, or if you just can't stop it, in the case of Rom, depending on what else they have to pair around it, because Io only has the Luna stun to really deal with it. They have to pick a Shaolin, and that Shaolin literally has to sit on top of Io. If that Shaolin decides to do anything else, it's free real estate. Io is not going to survive.
What's a feasible and solid counter against Charlene apart from Vivian at this point?
You can play the Tyra, you can play the Strix just like they did last time, but Tyra marking the Shaolin helps quite a bit. Otherwise, it's just a backline. At the end of the day, he has a cripple arrow, but he is just still a backline. You can play a flanker into him as long as you have a reveal, get Illuminate a little bit later, and he'll survive a lot. It'll be a lot harder for him to survive now that I finally remember how to speak English.
It's okay. That's my problem too.
That's your struggle. I can relate. I can relate today.
Finally, it's just finding the right words to speak English. That's the problem, And you're gonna go with Barrick. I was wondering what tank you can actually take at this point, since Khan is gone, Makoa, Torvald, all the big boys, the big players are gone. So this Barrick. What can he bring into fights and in Jaguar Falls in particular? What's his mastery at this point?
Damage into the IO, I think, is the biggest thing. I think that's what it's going to be. You're gonna go bulldozer on the Barrack. You're gonna destroy Luna when it's actually there, and they get the Tyra, just like I mentioned, to deal with that Shaolin. Right, the reveal when he wants to stealth, he doesn't really have mobility or an ult at that point. The ult is basically just a fire rate increase. It's practically like just getting recurve again for a short period of time. So not as much to do. They have to go Ashe because I think they just want to get some aggressive side of their team to maybe pressure Spunky on this Genos. They get the Andro to back it up too. But I don't know how great their peel is right now. And this Rom, if they get a great flanker to go with them, whether it be a Koga, I mean, it's Jag. It could even be Emoji if they... Oh. Yeah, so that's going to be Rom and Moji running at IO all game. I guaranteed from start to finish. That's all it's going to be.
We talk about the single digit, the worst champion in the game is going to be Moji, and there you go.
She doesn't have a single digit win rate, though. She has single digit games played, but she does have actually a 50% win rate. So she's 50-50 in PvP, and one of them was Frog locking her without realizing that she had been nerfed. So, yeah, that was not... The Moji can work. It's Jaguar Falls. It's Moji's map. This is the only place where you're going to be realistically seeing Moji in competitive, so it can work for loading vendors, especially paired with the Genos.
So many unusual picks coming in from loading vendors. They really are feeling confident if they want to play Barrack. Barrack, of course, is going to be more of a choice to destroy the deployables. In this case, Io with Luna, but Moji... I'm really, apart from in general her kit, I'm really curious about the ultimate and the implication, because at this point you want to hit as many targets as possible. You want to try to be as much annoying as possible. Also because you have, kind of a tough time when you're playing against her if she's backed up by Rom, Janos, Tyra, and all the others on the sideline. But this and more answers, we're going to find out inside the game because we're ready to go, ready to jump in and see actually the build on this Moji and all the others.
Toot is interesting. I think some people have been playing the Boom Boom recently, but you're going to see Toot just for the healing on the Moji, keep her alive more. Moji has such a big hitbox. You need something like Toot to keep yourself alive a lot of the time. And we also see a little bit of an EU special on the other side with the Fortress Breaker Ashe. Don't see that a lot in NA, but definitely going to see it on the point here fighting that Barrack. One actually thing that I didn't touch on with this Moji into this Ashe, you have that ult counter to her ult. If you turn her into a cookie during her ultimate, you can kill her while she's invincible. So it is a hard counter if you play it properly.
Luna,
IO, and how well they can get past it.
Luna and that deployable 0.5 second on the point. She did not resist at all. And we're going to find this Moji right now. Mudu trying his hardest to actually keeping himself alive. We saw all the card loadout, was super focused on healing and survival, and trying to be as much as patient as possible in long drawn out fights. And as you said before, survivability, they also got 78%. With a single action, and they got plenty of time to jump back over to this point.
And now we actually get the full 6-man zone with Luna on the point to cap while everyone else moves forward, so no one has to hold back for it. As Rengo actually not even going that far forward. They don't want to push that far, and very early shield here, but I'm not sure if loading vendors can get in. They actually have pressure on the right side, but no one's really watching. Only Shaolin is now, and now they're ready to turn.
Moji actually came in. We also have the tank right there. They're going to try their hardest to actually get onto the point. 96% completely blocked off. Luna is not going to be able to cap even more. Khan and all the others, they're going to try to do as much as possible damage. Moji comes in, takes another kill with Zarini. The combination is incredible. The aggression is on point. Triple kill coming in. They're just supporting each other, and they got the point soon after a single retake. And there you go. Also, they're all backed up, all scooped up. You have a single Rom, single Zarini controlling the entirety of the map and the point. He's going to get thrown off, and that's going to be a bye-bye for him.
Yeah, them getting the pick back there onto Zarini will help them stabilize. Overpower, though, being spent does not feel the best, but we'll see what they can do here. But they lose one, actually, on the flank here. Mutu is going to be a real thorn in their side, but he actually just disengages and kind of says, hey, come in, fight me. See if you can do it, and I'm not sure if they can at close range.
Yeah, it's full healing, for utility resources on those cards. So he's going to survive each and every single time you're going to try to catch up to him. And I think that focus, training, attention, he's going to turn heads each and every single time. And that's going to be the beauty of this particular Mutu pick. But of course, King Nick and all the others, they're playing beautifully inside this map. The damage is there, long drawn-out fights. And once again, they got full-on control with Tyra, so that means, the floor is in flames, you have no particular space to control, you are completely bound to your respawn, and there's no way that you can go back. You look at the damage that Mutu and all the others are doing right now. It's a full-on complete, chaos right there.
I gotta say, this Moji is just annihilating this Ashe, and it's an interaction I wasn't thinking about. I knew that Moji was going to be able to execute the Ashe during her ult, right? Yeah. But watching the Ashe behind her shield get lifted and then try to dash out, but lifted over the shield so the Moji can just kill her before she could go anywhere, I wasn't thinking about that. It seems to be something that is not helping that Ashe at all right now. 0 and 4 for Kofigs over there, but shoutouts to Rengo staying alive on this IO. Not really getting as pressured as I thought, but they just don't need to walk at the IO when they're killing everybody else. I mean, they're just annihilating the rest of the team as they try to get aggressive.
I was just saying, you don't need to pressure her out if you're basically melting each and every other target inside your team fight. So everybody's melting free time and space. This time does not find a target, but that's okay. It was a little sneaky. They were probably expecting it after Stone Keep. But here we go with another fight. Of course, Zarina is going to be the first one to go down. Mutu actually ulted in, takes a kill, but Casper is going to pay back with that cursed arm. He's going to take another kill right there. And they got once again control the point. Casper is gonna desperately try to hold it while dashing through the air, trying to get that verticality and that damage onto the enemy tank and flankers. But he's missing a lot of shots if you're noticing.
And look at this, Casper was so trapped in. They got the respawns here, and Zarini will go down to an execute, but they're getting flanked by Moji. He's in right now. Mutu, they can't turn for him in time.
The full-on, accursed damage coming in from Mutu. That's a long drawn out damage right there. You know, also you have the flames coming in from Pyra. That's a lot of DPS over time, you know, that you're actually getting with Mojang on the others. And look at the survivability that you have. You know, you have heals, you have tooth, you have the possibility of just absorbing each and every single damage that the arm from and the shots from Draxus are gonna go in. So in general, she's pretty okay and she's pretty fine during the entirety of the fight. Completely melting off, you know, tanks too.
Now look at this, Rengo did not have the trigger discipline to not get marked there near the very end. Mutu gets the heal too, but Rengo, Fangirl, Bully, I believe was the previous name of that player, tries to live, but Spunky gets all of the cleanup there in that fight, finding everybody as it ends. And now loading vendors, they're close, and they have a lot of ults to spend if they want to here. They're probably not going to use the snack time, I believe, but the Cataclysm and the time and space are definitely going to get thrown out here as soon as they see an opportunity.
They just need to find the right angle, of course, and yeah, in general, they got so much power, so much, you know, pushing capabilities. They also actually used the first ultimate right there. The Lian shield is melting after the relentless fire of Moji, and yeah, they got another point. Another clean 4-0.
Yeah, they get it through, and loading vendors again with a strong performance here in a bracket week, even with different kind of shifting things around every time. They had Cuss and Bunny, I believe, week 1, and then shifting in some of their subs in week 2, been looking different every week just to fill in for Simsaloo among other players, but things have been looking good for them. I think they're looking like the team to beat in Europe as EU 5 heads with a couple of subs. Even though they were dominant in this region before this, or close to Rosfet, they lost in like the first round this week. So things have been just different in EU, but loading vendors, they're looking like they're going to be a constant moving forward.
Absolutely. First game, you know, was for business. The second one was for fun, but either way, checks out, you know, it worked out pretty well. In general, I don't know about Crescent. The strat was on point. You know, this time I was not super doubtful about their draft potential. They got also Eye onto the first pick. You know, they got a lot of damage and a lot of potential onto that Sean lane at this point. It's just that in general, I don't want to harp on him because he's a way better player than me. But Casper, just inconsistencies between all those shots, especially with the Andraxis, was way more noticeable. You know, he was not hitting shots, having problems just traversing the entirety of the team fight more times than others. So I don't know about that. I think he just needs to find his space and right mindset at this point, because he had so many problems just engaging 1v1 against, you know, Muru, against King Nick, and all the others.
It was just a really, really hard game for him, I think, because Casper, I think some of his fights were pretty decent, but think about who was making space for him, right? It was Kofigs on this Ashe. Kofigs was struggling. It was just not a easy game for that Ashe at all. So I think your off tank doesn't really do anything. Your off tank getting picked off on these sides, the build not really working for him in general, and he couldn't have really run battering ram into Genos anyway. So that side's not really making any space. What do? Go down mid? You fight a Tyra with Mercy Kill? You're not. He's not going to be able to live through that. Just a hard game, I think, in general for Casper. And I don't know if it really is fair to harp on him for what they did. Still, they made it to the finals. They got their crystals. They got their points for the future week, even with loading vendors ending out on top.
Absolutely, you know, they're a strong team. I definitely don't want to, you know, take anything away from them. It's just that, of course, this time around the draft was more solid than usual. But then you definitely see a problem with Ashe, you know, because she was basically melting, you know, shields and all. You know, without a shield, when she was popped off, she was dying. With the shield, they were just pushing on her. And same thing goes for Khan. You know, he was having lots of trouble just keeping up with the aggression. But at that point, you need to find a common problem. You need to find the error in the strat, or at least the execution. So you need to give me the problem. What was the problem in general between these two compositions?
I gotta say, I think the Ashe just was not really the pick for them there. Maybe they could have gone a better off tank to take that space, but they got plenty of time to figure it out. There's the closed bracket week coming up after this in the following week, going to be played basically right when World Championships are happening. So a lot of things going on in Paladins, EU, NA, and BR. But NA, speaking of that, we still have the amateur wing of that coming up on the other side of this break. Stick around. We'll be right back.
we're back for the minor league. My name is Merlo. With me, Kresnik, finally, for a little bit of NA action. My pronunciation today is completely off the wall. I'm sorry, Chris. Happens sometimes.
Don't apologize. What? Don't apologize to me for that. We're in North America, man. Everything's allowed here. It's a melting pot of ideas and accents and pronunciations over here in the great US of A and Canada and Latin America. But no, we're all encompassing here when we have North America as the region, and should be a game which encompasses quite a few different types of play styles and different types of players here. Squid Squad versus imported carries. Squid, they made, I want to say they have a recent roster change. They lose Dink to Team Merc and Keyboard, but they pick up Amos, aka he's had a bajillion names up to this point, so we'll call him Amos. I think his name in these games are going to be Visuals 3. we'll find out more once we actually are in the game to see it. But he's an old he played in the PPC for HP Office Jet Pro 6978 wireless all-in-one instant ink ready printer. He was one of the DPSs for that team. Played fairly well actually, so should be a welcome pickup for this roster, and we'll see how it does for Squid in general.
Yeah, and it's been a couple of weeks that I actually was able and honored to witness Squid Squad as a team. So, in general, great composition and great players, but we're ready to actually go back into ban and pick phase and see what's going to happen, what's going to get picked. We had some EU flavor right before today. And, in EU, I'm starting to not see and not witness Rokus as that much, as much.
It's still being picked in PPC.
In PPC, okay. Yeah. But not in minor league, in general. And I saw a bunch more cons in general, just out of sheer numbers of tanks that you can actually play. But I think we are on the same page right now. Torvald is going to be one of the top bans to just go away straight out of the blue because it just gives so much potential inside your composition. And of course you also have IO back into the pool, so IO probably is going to be the next ban or one of the first drafts. So in general you also have that. But what do you think about NA? What do you think about this NA minor league? You are expecting something different, maybe a more exotic pick or something like that?
Maybe, we'll see. Andro as the first ban does say already we're going to see a slightly different tone, but I think it makes sense. It's Splitstone Quarry in particular, and I think they might be targeting the controller maybe on imported carries, getting rid of flanks that they can play Elec. Not sure exactly what role he will fill with them. We'll see as it goes here, but Eevee actually banned out by imported carries, so they're targeting Squid Squad, maybe targeting the controllers on imported carries, and Eevee is the target for Thing for sure. Thing 2 from Squid Squad is being looked at by imported carries. These are teams that scrim each other. These are teams that know what the other one might be looking for and know what will hurt them in the long run on this map. But this just goes to show how important verticality is on Splitstone, right? When you start by banning Andro, Eevee, and then Strix, and like you said, Torv so far it's the only carryover ban between regions.
Absolutely, but it's just so strong, and gives you that much potential on an allied, Zen or Lex or whatever flankers you actually want to take. So much tankiness, sustainability, and damage because you can stay in fight for longer. And we were just talking about Ruckus, coming in from the EU as a first pick for Squid Squad, and that's okay because we were talking about verticality, and that's exactly what you have. You have a big tank, quote unquote, flanker, which he's only, his specific job is to get behind the enemy lines, get 2 kills, and then you have value. Then you can die. But you need to find at least one single kill onto that Genos, and maybe another one to have value inside this particular pick. But you also have Genos and Makoa, so half shelled for controlling the middle phase. You have that hook to just gain those objects, those enemies from up onto the high ground and just drag them towards you. But also you have Vivian and Barrick. In general, how do you see this triple core composition from Squid Squad? Vivian and Barrick, of course.
A lot of shields right now, so imported carriers probably want someone with decent wrecker to deal with them, I would say, but I do like the Vivian into the Makoa. I think it's really hard to hook her under her shield in some positions. Sometimes it's impossible. You can do it. You can get the hook just in that crack between her shield and the ground. but it's not always guaranteed. And Barrick, of course, having a shield to block that hook as well, can stalemate with the Makoa too. So it's a decent pickup so far, but imported carries now, they're going to be able to rely on their Kinessa. They have this sniper now who can make things a lot harder for this Barrick. His deployable shield will have to become a constant factor in the way between the Kinessa and them. And then go Cassie too. That for me, that's got to be just big game for the Ruckus. So Squid now probably just want to get a healer that can either out heal that or just go full aggression, maybe get a flanker that can dive with it and make that Cassie wish that she had impulse.
So if you're talking about out healing, at this point you can go Ying, Io, you can basically... Yeah, Io is still open.
Yeah, that would be good. I would say I think it's actually not a bad time for her too, because they don't have a great way to deal with her, but they're going to go with the Corvus instead. There was no aggressive tank on the side of imported carries, even with Rom available. I think it could have worked, but Corvus to heal the Drogos and to pocket the Ruckus on the way in, that works too.
And Rom coming in at this point, if you had the clearance to actually take maybe a Grover beforehand, just to block the eventual tank that will come in. But at that point, you had Hatch, you had so many tanks at your disposal other than Makoa. So at this point, I appreciate Corvus, but also you have Drogos. I don't know if he's going to be able to heal them all, but the damage is going to be insane for sure. But we're ready to head back into the game and see what's going to happen.
I gotta say, looking at this, I really don't know if I like the ROM into the comp that Squid Squad have. I don't know if I love that last pick ROM. I feel like, okay, he pressures the Corvus, but what does he really do into these DPS otherwise? I think Vivian just kind of beats him in terms of damage. He's not diving a Ruckus. The Drogos can just fly away. Yeah. But I'm wondering where this Drogo is going to go. I like Drogos in triple DPS sometimes because he can play kind of against that wall close, and it doesn't matter that you're missing someone in another lane. But that's a steady aim Kinessa on the other side. There's nowhere else that's really safe for him to sit. He can't really go anywhere too vertical because that Kinessa is going to be able to own him, as we do have a pause behind that talent screen early in the game. This is good because it gives the predictions more time to run out before we see the first fight, as the predictions seem to be leaning towards Squid Squad, actually. 22k to 9k on the other side. So chat seems to like the Drogos even into the Kinessa.
Okay, that's fine. I would never pick a Drogos against the Kinessa, but also, mind you, they had a single tank, before taking the last ROM, and Makoa, of course, he has the shields, the half shield right there, but as soon as you take ROM out with a single Dragon Punch, it's going to be completely alone all by itself, and as soon as it's off shell, it just expires. You're going to be able to take that point pretty easily. So, okay for me, and also the positioning of Drogos, just playing, near the building, that's okay. It's going to be, completely covered up from Kinessa, like this particular point. Kinessa doesn't find the spot right there, even though she had the first shot. So you can be safe, but you can only play in that particular lane,
But look how forward that the Kinessa was able to get because of the lack of really pressure on her. Like, Thing is alive right now, but as soon as the Kin takes an angle, no, Johnny on the rotations just missing these line of sights onto Thing on this Drogos here and just waiting for them to come out. But potential early damage, ROM is still causing havoc in the backline for them as Squid Squad managed to retake this objective.
They managed to retake, but they need to hold it back, and Dragon Punch coming in, and as I said before, Rom is out, so it's just Makoa, and Makoa is easy to deal with at this point, and you have the point, you have the control. If you manage to stagger him out and actually kill him, it's going to be a huge plus for them, but that's not going to happen. Actually, Corvus is getting killed, Apache is getting killed. The situation is completely bonkers and out of control for Squid Squad.
And Kinessa up top does a ton of damage. Again, Kin without a real answer will be fantastic on this map. Even if they don't kill Thing, they're still managing to do quite a bit there. Someone in chat asks, who is Visuals 3? That is almost from the team HP Office Jet Pro from the PPC before. So some PPC talent now being brought into imported carries as they continue to stay aggressive in the back. Alek is all over them.
And Johnny has the right angle, actually, to find each and every single shot. He can control, they got everything back. Barrick actually can get killed right there and there you go. That's another kill, that's another value that you're getting while pushing. It's not going to be long before the payload is rolling around. They just need to find another kill. Right now, Ruckus tries to do a little bit of retaliation against the enemy tank. It's going to get killed and picked off. Drogo's actually right there, taking another shot, double shot coming in from Cassie and Kinessa in combination. That's a double kill right there, and they're going to be rolling off the enemy respawn, getting kills, over kills, and a clean 2-0.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way they're going to be able to contest your Squid. Just have to take it at this point. And they use that Hexafire for that defense, too. No way to make it outright. They use that Hexafire, so Longshot now won't have that. Potentially find and execute there. A lot up potentially for imported carries coming up soon. Lek has already almost charged a second Cataclysm here. He just used one earlier, so he'll have that in pace with Apache's Dome Shield, and that literally is a hard counter to Barrack's Dome, so that is one of the reasons why they would pick up that ROM in the first place. Cauterize is also now coming online too. Neither of the tanks really starting with it, but apparently that healing difference didn't really matter. They're just running over Wizdude on this Corvus here, doing more damage than you can keep up with healing-wise. But I think this last fight comes down to the ults, and this next fight, excuse me, comes down to the ults in a lot of ways. Whether it's a Dragon Punch onto the ROM, whether it's the Cataclysm connecting on the Dome Shield. See exactly how this works out, but they're playing to counter this ROM early.
Absolutely, and we saw the Dragon Punch before. We see it once again against the ROM right now. It's going to get you value each and every single time. Of course, Kinessa is going to go down right there. If they also get Cassie, it's going to be huge for them. And there you go, the movement coming in from Ruckus. Actually, a little bit 38 HP, maybe something like that. He needs to find the right angle to find the kill. No can do. Cassie actually retaliating against the enemy Ruckus, and no can do right there. Dragon Punch is going to give you value for sure every single time. Last time, last point, actually they lost Corvus in the middle of the fight. So this time around it seems to be much better, and Ruckus is free range to do whatever he pleases. Also, this Kinessa, a little bit, if not a huge out of position.
Yeah, look at this right now. Thing is actually playing on the inside, and they're getting all the kills onto them here. Envy maybe a little forward, but Envy gets that fight 1-4. But Squid, they got so much cap time. Double comeback came in clutch for them, and Elect just needs to buy time.
Indeed. And now they got the turrets, they got control. They just need to find the right spot and go back all together. All backed up, 68% on long shot. If they find the right angle, and if they manage to shut down ROM, probably they can make it, but also I see an opportunity against the enemy healer. Jenna's completely all out in the open, and Ruckus knows that, and Ruckus wants that kill. The healer is out, probably even Kinessa in a little while, and there you go, double kill coming in for Ruckus from behind. He's going to take Makoa, he's going to take all the other champions, and that's going to be it. The cap is on. ROM alone can't do anything, not even touch the point for, a little bit of a take back. And yeah, they're ready to push.
He tried to make it happen, but the Dragon Punch came right in front of him. Thing charging up a second one during that fight, so great play by him here, and also keeping up the poke damage. They have someone in both lanes, and I mentioned the hook. It gets blocked by the shield, and Visuals is so aggressive, and Apache Dome's behind them.
They don't care. They just go for it. And of course, the ultimate is going to be spent from Barrack. They got full-on control. The Hexafire coming in. They're going to try to find as much targets, as many targets as possible. They actually got 2. And this cast is going to go down. The card is still rolling, still moving. Ooh, and this Vivian finds Johnny out in the open once again. I don't know what is this.
Why was he there?
I don't know, but it's been 2 times in a row when he was completely far ahead and getting shot at.
I guess I know that I said he might have to look at Thing a little bit more, but I think he might have been a little too desperate to deal with that Drogos if that's where he ended up standing here. But they have this card moving, and the Ruckus is going to just be able to survive here. Amos, no shield. He just dies right away. They get the trade with Kin finally, but Cataclysm sets up for one more kill on Visuals.
Incredible combination right there. For Time and Space actually gets another one, and ROM, able to deal with the Ruckus each and every single time. 1 minute though is still plenty of time to actually touch the point and the payload, but you have Kinessa, onto the forefront, able to, block maybe a couple of enemies. Let's see what's gonna happen.
Yeah, we have Johnny looking for a decent angle here, but again, going to be hard to find it. Thing also rushing that Haven, I believe, so he'll live through quite a few of the shots from them, and they're not even comfortable really taking this fight. Actually, wait, no one's watching this underflank, but no one's also taking it. It looks like they're going to play over the wall instead, and this Dragon Punch will be an opener.
Yeah, coming in. Let's see if he gets ROM or every other character for that matters.
Played it safe.
Actually, he doesn't find anything. Too bad. That's a waste of ult right there.
It's better to cancel it if you know you're not going to find something, because it's really risky ult in general, and he got 30% back, and look how fast he's charging his next one already.
Absolutely, and he's just hitting every single shot. Raman's going to fall soon after, and that's going to be a 2-on-2 tie, because, of course, it's just Kinessa, and she's going to fall off pretty easily.
Yeah, I love seeing the way that he uses the fire spit. On this map, it's such a wide range that you don't necessarily need, or you don't necessarily expect to get shots on your fire spit that'll hit multiple people. So when he's close range with that ROM, he's just spitting on him. Most people don't use this ability for it, but it also gives you a damage boost if you hit someone with it. He's spitting on the ROM, and that's denying the damage reduction, basically, from his Juggernaut. He's not able to survive anywhere near as much as he would have otherwise, so I think using that ability, fairly well for it, and also rushing that Haven 3 means he doesn't have to respect that Kinessa anywhere near as much as he had to before.
3, 2.
And now we see the Dragon Punch back once again, but also the Exafire super close. So they have the potential to actually deal with each and every single tank onto the other side. They just need to find the right angle, and I think that right now he knows where Kinessa is, so it's just gonna down. Confirmation came in, Kinessa is dead, so it's gonna go down for Genos, getting that kill. The others are falling soon after. You know, the Exafire is being spent right there, and Rom getting staggered out, so they're all completely gone. They got 39, 42, 50% onto that point, and they're able to defend pretty easily right now.
And they have only Ancient Rage to really go in for the retake. They will have Scout, but doesn't really matter quite as much yet. No ults left for Squid. Really?
Genos.
They're just not ready for the ruckus?
Oh, that was amazing. And that's a huge opportunity because you have no healers. You got no Kinessa, so completely unscathed for it. You can basically just take the point. Just take it. It's over. Double kill coming in. Lots of credits, to be banked on. And it's just Makoa staggering out, getting that PL coming in. And if Genos does once again, I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's happening, Crest.
Ghost wasn't ready for the push at the end there. Wizdude teleporting in basically just to chase him down. This ruckus pick early, it makes so much sense on this map. It's just so good when you need that verticality, and Amos really got to stop trying to hook this Vivian. It doesn't work from high ground to low ground. It literally doesn't work. I don't know why he's going for it.
Jebaited, just baits the hook right there. And of course, they're gonna try to take the DPS as much as possible onto that backline. You still have Ancient Rage, as kind of a replenishing move to just have much sustain inside of those fights. But in general, I don't know about the Genos. He didn't see Ruckus 2 times in a row. It was huge because basically they got so much tempo out of that. Ultimates are coming in. Mako in a very bit of a tight spot right there. Dragon Punch also available. And let's see what's going to happen right there. Yep, he takes the kill against the enemy ROM. Mako is going to be the next one to go if they focus him hard. And he's gone. So no takes home to point, no DPS, no Genos available. And that's going to be a 4-2 for Squid Squad.
He just didn't ult, by the way. He straight up did not end up ulting there. So they had a chance to live. Maybe Amos could have made it to the point, but to be fair, he also would have been on point with no shield into an Hexa-firing ruckus. It wouldn't have saved anything, but at the very least, it would have looked a little better than I don't think he ulted. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No,
I don't think he ulted the entire game.
No, I don't.
He
I
might
don't know
not.
about that. We didn't have.
I think I missed one, maybe.
We didn't have a full-on visual on him because every single time we were looking for a Dragon Punch, it was either him or Rom. So even if you want to ult with Ancient Rage, you know you're going to die. Yeah. But in general, yes, just Genos was out there, so maybe maybe he could have touched the point, getting a heal by Genos. But as you said before, Exafire was ready. In general, I think the game was pretty much balanced, all out. They didn't have enough of a response against this Drogoz, to be honest. Kinessa, yes, was super aggressive for sure, but that aggressiveness kept her out of position so many times.
Actually, shoutouts to Elec on this ROM, top damaging on his team. That just shows the pressure he was putting on in the back, but it also kind of shows that it didn't matter, really, at the end of the day. He was on the back line, he was pressuring onto the Vivian, he was pressuring onto the Corvus there, and even getting some follow-up shots at the very end onto Apache, but it didn't end up really mattering. They took so much more damage on the side of imported carries, and Genos really couldn't keep up with it healing-wise. Only 65k for Ghost, and not that different in the healing thing, but look at the damage taken. It's just so much higher on the side of imported carries.
And remember that Genos was most of the times just dead, It was 3 times in a row caught against the Ruckus, out of nowhere inside that building. And the first time is okay. You're not expecting that. You're not expecting so many people up against you inside a house, inside that high ground. And that's okay for the first time. But then the second time he was trying to, I don't know, maybe touch the point for the retake, but he was completely alone. And it's the second time you're basically playing without a healer. And the third time, it was once again so far ahead because he was trying to save that Kinessa, and then he died. And then when he respawned, it was just him and Makoa. And Makoa was completely dead off to the side. So I don't know. It's not that. I think the healing numbers are so low because he was just not healing. It was.
I don't think it's even necessarily super his fault. I think the draft was just super hard.
Yeah.
For him to play. I mean, he was playing there wasn't a flanker following up, but the Ruckus just going over the top made things incredibly difficult, of course, for them. But they don't have to worry about this on the next map, which we do have picks and bans ready for. No map is going to be as good, unless it's Warder's Gate. Okay, it's Jaguar Falls. I was going to say, if it's Warder's Gate, then yes, be worried. But no map is going to have that level of Ruckus importance, really. And Jag, for imported carries, they think it'll be a better map for them. Their comp, copy paste their comp onto this map, it's probably looking a little bit better.
And there you go, with the target ban right there for Eevee, that's fine. But yeah, at this point, you still have the map onto your side. But Jaguar Falls is still a very, how can I say, pretty balanced map where, the skill comes in. If you're able to maybe pick up a Torvald and the Zin, you have pretty much control over every single lane. But in general, that's not going to happen because Torvald, top ban in almost every region at this point. And maybe I think Vivian could be unscathed from this banning phase.
Awesome.
Maybe Io once again, you have the possibility, as we saw before on Jaguar Falls, to just place Luna inside the point and just go as a 5-man team against the enemy high ground and just push them back as much as possible. But that depends on, imported carries a strat. The core is going to be very important for them.
Yeah, I think so. It's going to be crucial to keep that kind of thing left. And they're doing another ban for flankers. So imported carriers really don't want to deal with that kind of aggression, but they're going to be dealing with whatever off-tank Squid Squad want to get if ROM ends up getting to that side of it. Take it away from Elec, get it for themselves, and be able to maintain their aggression here. I'm not sure if the Zin is a target ban. I know that the Eevee is a target ban for sure. I just don't know if the Zin is in particular or if they just don't want to deal with Guillotine, which can, of course, completely determine the pace of the game. If you don't have tanks that can really deal with it. True,
and what are those tanks? Of course, Rom, and the other one, I already forgot. Chris, you're the tech caster.
Left game?
You have 2 tanks that can survive. One is Rom,
Khan.
The other one is Khan, right.
From the shout, yeah.
Yeah, I was completely, exactly, because he can get out of it. And you actually have Khan onto the Squid Squad. Drox is from imported carry. Cassie coming in. So even though if you're drafting a very sizable, infeasible tank, Cassie is just going to melt him away. So I don't know. Right now, Squid Squad, not super sure about their full-on execution and core. I just need to find at least one other pick to really figure it out. And for imported carries, you have Androxus from Jaguars. He's incredible. So much opportunity for him. And Ara, an evergreen. We didn't see her picked in this particular edition of the minor league that too often, But in general, I think is an all-around good tank. She does what she's meant to do. Of course, sticking to the point, being an anchor, and survive as much as possible. And with Genos, she's definitely going to be able to do that. Terminus coming in as a counter for Inara and Corvus. What do you think about this composition right now from the Squid Squad?
Yeah, I don't necessarily love the Inara into what they have, plus paired with the Genos. It's just a rough combination, but we'll see if they can have maybe another healer to help them amplify that, or if they're just going to go triple DPS with it, which could also work. They would just want another flanker, I think, in this rotation. Koga not looking that bad right now, I would say. I think Koga could be decent here if they pick it up, but they're going to go Io instead. So they're going to be double support, maybe potentially low on damage, low on sustain, I guess, if the Inara ends up getting focused, but still difficult for them to, I guess, keep up on sustain. It's all going to fall apart in the late game, which is what Squid Squad should be looking for, but they're going to go Talus, and I'm assuming that's just to run down the Io whenever.
Yeah. As soon as he has, the mobility and the ultimate, he can basically just jump on her. and go back. I don't know. In general, I like this Squid Squad composition right there. It's just that it's so unusual for me to see these picks work together. Because I know the interaction between, for example, Khan and Cassie, but I don't know about Terminus with Talus. It's so many different picks that I don't see that very often. But we're ready to jump back into the game and find out.
Yeah, the biggest problem for me with the Talus, really the only one I can think of, at least for me, is that the Talus is going to be a little bit faster paced than the rest of his team. But if he comes in from another angle and waits for the tanks to be close enough, that works fine. They're going to be playing, it looks like, I was going to say, I don't know which one of them is the main tank. It's going to be Term, I'm assuming, because it's not Leon's shield, but we'll see what they get away with. And it's also going to be standard support talent, so nothing special from that Genos. No binary, no power Cosmium. Just exactly what we've come to expect from a Genos these days. But I say a lot of eyes on this Talus to see how he times his aggression with the Khan or the Terminus.
I mean, I prefer imported carries, loadout, and in general composition better because I know what can I expect from them. But I don't know about this Talus, and right now is a flanker fight. Talus going back completely super safe right there, but also we see that Johnny survived the attack, and he's going to be able to push a lot of pressure inside that lane. And let's see what's going to happen right there. I think he needs to find a better angle to actually get another kill, but almost on to the point, taking the first one. And just standing there, he's going to be able to survive a lot of damage and a lot of the onslaughts from the enemy team.
A lot of cap early to imported carries, but now because of the sacrifice there, they're able to make it work as Amos is just almost is pushing through onto Amos to get that kill potentially. It was a great start by imported, but now they have to find a way to break through, and they have absolutely no mobility. I mean, they have Andro, but he's too squishy.
Yeah, and the problem with Jaguar Falls, of course, for the retake is that you have that secret, zone and also those stairs, that high ground that you need to get out of, and it's super hard, as you said before, no mobility, and they're just trying to over-push and overthrow this Khan and just go back through him, but he basically took the entirety of the focus of the enemy team and on him, and basically they took a free payload right there.
Yeah, they're going to potentially lose. I thought they were going to lose the afterfight, but it looks like it actually might be okay for them. The stun maybe turns it around, but the Siphon saves Amos. Does he manage to get away?
Absolutely. Oh, no, not at all, actually. You thought he was going to survive, but no can do, sir. And Chalice is just going to jump back with the rune, completely safe, completely unscathed once again. They're going to try to push them back. They're using so many resources to just keep them at bay. And I don't know about that, but I like that for the action. I don't know about the resources and in general, almost getting killed right off thanks to Khan. And everybody's just gonna die soon after. They need to find a kill. Squid Squad completely dominating this phase of the team fight, and it's gonna be over right there.
Honestly, I am shocked that the time and space did not kill basically everybody a little bit earlier there. Kind of actually crazy to me that they managed to survive through that time and space. But Squid, not in the worst position right now, especially with this flank. If this Terminus can stay alive, they can play this angle really well, and it works perfectly. 2 kills already for them.
And with Cassie and Talus combination, they got a bunch of kills right there. Willa's going to be the next one to go down. Talus relentlessly pushes, of course, and takes another kill. And now are completely alone. They need the stutter, they need to stun, and they need to find a kill with Cassie. And that's it. They basically are at the last stretch, the last straw. 50 seconds to go, but they got so much space. It's going to be an easy clean 2-0.
Yeah, look at this right now.
Yeah, there you go. It's just
no way. Andrew's trying to delay, but look at what it's against. They pierce right through that reversal, and they put Luna on the point, but even Luna can't live that long.
Absolutely. And there you go. They just are going to find kills after kills after kills. I mean, Inara is putting a little bit of a pressure and defense right there thanks to the wall and shield, but she's getting pushed back. And, of course, the damage is coming there. Maybe Androxus can find a kill right there with the Accursed Arm. Let's see. No can do. Talus goes back. No targets are found. Androxus does not take anything from this one. Maybe a single one on Talus right there, but the time is going to be of the essence. Through time and space, once back again. Maybe they can defend thanks to Disanara completely being killed off by here. But no! But no! Oh god, long shot! What did you do? That was crazy.
Threw Amos right off the point as soon as the DR ran out. And Nara can buy time, but not enough. They didn't have the IO able to drop the Luna on the point. So the fact that they contested that long enough was amazing by Squid Squad, surviving through quite a few ults too. I mean, they Fae Flighted at the end. They used the Seismic Crash. They used the Be Gone a little bit earlier. The Andro even ulted, even though he charged a lot of it back up. Johnny really fought hard to try to turn that fight back into their favor, but just could not make it happen. Imported carries will have their time and space here, maybe to follow up on it, to start this, excuse me, but look at what they have on the other side. I mean, they have an Overpower, which I don't think you can argue that's one of the best ults in the game, and Scout and Entropic Breach, not the best, but they can help them plan what they want to do, and Amos was not ready for that at all.
Free kill right there, thanks to Khan, and as we are going to see, you know, each and every single time you play against the Khan, it's just so easy, and Draxus is gonna fall off. No mobility left for him. Of course, as you can see, he took the kill. Janus needs to restart and reset thanks to this death right there. But even though with the combat mechanic, they were able to get 54%, they're not going to be able to move onto the point once again. The mobility is equal to 0, and Inara is going to be the only one to maybe try to push a little bit further. But I don't see that happening anytime soon.
Johnny, though, he actually stops the cap with an amazing play, but he needs to do more now, and he might get bullied by this Cassie.
Needs to pay very much close attention. And like actually following in with through time and space. I think this is the unlocker. I think they actually can make it and get back onto the point if he finds the Cassie. There you go. 360 right there. They actually got the point thanks to the comeback mechanic, but now you need to actually find with your picks the right spot and try to push them outside the point. And how can you do that with 2 healers at your disposal? Inara as a main tank, you know, with not that much damage or potential, and just, you know, Willow and a Druxon on your side. I think it's going to be pretty complicated because they play for points.
Yeah, they're going to be holding this as well as they can to try to get that double comeback hold here. But look at this Entropic Breach to engage. Usually we see it's appeal, but he's just holding it as they go in with a True Power. But they cancel the True Power. They're just pushing because they think they can get a free kill on Amos.
Indeed, let's see. Nice escape and evade from long shot, but no can do. Ayo just, you know, goes with the double dose and pushes almost a cliff, getting another kill. That's gonna be fine because Willow finds the verticality right there thanks to the ultimate, and of course that zone, set zone, of course, to try and find as much damage as possible. It's gonna take another one and another one and another one. The payload is gonna be rolling it, and they also got a feasible amount of time left to just try to make this action happen.
Yeah, they have Willow in a really good position without a really great way to counter her. On the other side, it's going to be Talus, but already far enough away, I think, to live through it. Thing gets burned down immediately, and they force this overpower.
They're going to try to get the kill on Willow, but she's just surviving over and over and over. She's still alive. She's trying as much as possible. 2CC, one after the other, and she's still alive. Just fighting backed up into a corner. And, you know, she's showing teeth. She's ready to go and do as much damage as possible. And they got a clean 2-2 after a super long struggle. Just so many amazing plays coming from imported carries.
And welcome to what IO can do. Even though they had the siphon on, the con, they had a lot of damage in. They actually send Johnny in to try to get a kill, but Johnny dies to get the trade. But then when they finally turn to look at Envy, Ghost is there pocketing him. That's 15% DR plus the DR that the Willow can get on their own. Literally just unable to outpace the healing plus the damage reduction with who they had left there. So Squid Squad, no shortage of ultimates here, but really not. It's the same for imported carries, and Johnny's Accursed Arm apparently counts as like 3 different ultimates at once because of what he was able to do with it before.
And also with the level 3 counter race to that spot and to that point, they were still not able to actually kill her. So I think that's a pretty big achievement. They're actually going to try to fly and go back and try to make as much kills as possible. And Johnny's going to be the first one to actually counteract this action. It's going to take 2 kills in a row. He's going to go with a further one on to Khan. I don't know about this action. It was not super well executed. And of course, imported carries, they take the opportunity to actually get the point thanks to Luna. And he got full control on both the side lanes.
I like the way that they're doing this right now, slowly playing this, but they have to go in for the touch soon. Thing, though, he's the one who has it for free, and Ghost is alone? The side, is he gonna get his ult forced? Yeah, Thing just gets a kill for free on him and then comes back with the True Power.
Ooh, the damage is insane. Chalice is gonna try to find out if he's able to actually get Willow or not. Places the rune, is gonna try to do as much damage as possible. Now can do. The rune is gonna pop off thanks to the healing, etc. So you just need to find a single kill. A single kill can change the pace of the action right there. But they need to find it, and Yunara is not going to be the one. Terminus is going to have so many problems. That wall is going to completely block off Cassie. She's not finding Willow. She's not finding shots. Willow is going to be relentless up on top thanks to that verticality. The damage is insane. The death zone is there. Terminus is going to have so many troubles keeping up with the pace and with the survivability. And in midst of all that, they actually got the point.
Wait, Longshot might be able to make it back, though. Yeah, he actually gets the OT. He will die right away, but I don't know exactly what the rest of the team is looking like. All right, it's just a Cassie. No way they can make that happen. Johnny on the Andro is just too hard to deal with, but they... Okay, I was going to say they got off the point. I didn't know what was going on there, but Johnny gets all these kills, including trying to use an Accursed Arm to go even further.
Man, Imported Games carries right now, they're doing an amazing game. They're going strong. They're finding every single opportunity to actually, get those kills. But I wonder, what has happened with Squid Squad? They had a better draft, and in general, they had a better composition. I think the first action, was kind of, dangerous and not well executed, but they lost everything out of that. They lost the point, they lost the matchup, and they're losing the Bush right hand on right now.
Yeah, look at this pressure. They have to use the overpower just to live, and this time they're not going to make the same mistake. Never mind. They're going to make a different mistake instead, I guess, because Longshot just throws his ult away.
That's a new mistake. It's not the same, but it's a pretty huge one that basically cost them the game. Man, for a single edge, they basically lost everything. And Imported Carries, well played. Can't say anything other than well played. It was an amazing game from them.
How does that happen, man?
Okay, the first time it's not on Khan. First mistake it's on me. Second mistake it's on you. At this point, Khan had the clear shot. Willow did not have an ultimate to just go back up. She didn't have Fairy Flight. So at that point, there was a free kill, and he was the major DPS inside that team fight. It was all on Willow. He failed. He lost them the game. That's the only thing. First time around, she had so much resistance and so much healing coming from the back line. Was almost impossible to kill. But the second was a huge mistake.
Yeah, they just...
that I'm never had an issue with this machine in motion. The clock's in the walls are numb, and I've been waiting here for so long, so long. Listen, I got a problem, and you're the only one who knows what's true as a function. Let's stay years ahead and live this life without you instead. Failing to understand how
we went back live just to spite Suizere in chat, who says 5 minutes or more than 5 minutes. But hey, welcome back, everybody. Just me for now. We're going to figure out whatever's going on with Merlot as we move forward. But we do have a bronze match here to finish. It's currently 1-1 between Imported Carries and Squid Squad. So we'll see exactly who can kind of take it forward from here. Both teams have kind of looked... They've looked competitive on their games. I think both of them have looked kind of in control on their map picks too. So I would say lean Squid Squad style just to see if it's their map pick, right? If they were able to win as strong as they did on their map pick, then the next one should also look solid for them. But hopefully we can see what map that is shortly and see exactly what kind of style they're looking to play on it. And it'll actually be Fish Market. So another wide map where they can play into snipers again. Maybe they'll try to target Johnny's Androxus. If that was really a problem. He looked phenomenal on that last map. It was banned out on map number 1, so maybe that is just something that they really have to kind of go out of their way to eliminate and actually deal with in that way. But this is a better map for those snipers. There's not really as much cover for them to play on that Drogos around corners. They can't really do that same style of play. It's going to have to be more of a grounded style of aggression, whether it be I think a Androxus going in, whether it be an Ashe or a Rom or something along those ways. Koga also can function, I think, fairly well. So hopefully we'll be able to get into picks and bans soon. We have that available. So let's hop in and we'll take a look at the drafts that these two different teams do here. Squid Squad, of course, will be first pick as it is their map choice. Now that we're in the losers pick section of the set. Squid Squad bans were going to be important here. I think Torvald is still crucial to get rid of. Io also, some teams I think value differently on this map. It's going to depend a lot on how they're really expecting to play, but Shaolin will be the first one taken out. This seems like an aim towards, I'm not sure exactly who unimported carries would play the Sha. I'd assume maybe Envy, but I mean, I played with Envy a while ago, and I don't know how his Sha would really look here, but they're not getting rid of the Androxus at all. They're going to go for Shaolin and Vivian. So these are two picks on Fish Market. They don't really scream Fish Market to me. I mean, Shaolin, of course, is okay, but I'm not really thinking that like crazy. And Eevee, who I don't personally like on this map either. They just really don't want Thing 2 to play it. So they're going to get rid of that Eevee. And the Torvald Squid Squad have their first pick. And if they could just go Andro to counter pick out Johnny on the other side, but it will be the Khan. First picked on Fish Market. Low mobility, so this to me says they're going to be poking a lot, whether it be with a sniper, whether it be with just a backline hit scan like a Victor. This to me says they're playing slow and they're wanting to walk off of their executes or their ultimates in general on that first pick. Imported carries now. In response, they can look at some backlines. Strix, of course, they want to kind of outpoke whatever Squid Squad end up with, and they know that if they go a second off tank, they have the sustain advantage there. So get Strix for their controller hit scan, get Androxus for their primary Androxus player as I freeze again. It's a lot harder when I'm the only camera. Here it's a little more obvious for that, but they want someone that can get aggressive for Squid. I think a Rom would help significantly here if they can actually cross and get onto that Strix. Maybe even with it or a Grover that can help too, but they're going to go with the sniper duel. So they really are going to commit to this poke game. They're saying that our backlines are better than your backlines, and we can prove it with this. Grabbing a Genos as well. So Kinesso with a pocket can have the advantage against a Strix, depending on how they both build, whether they start Havens, whether whoever gets the first shot, which will usually be Strix out of stealth. He tends to have the advantage in that fight as they go. Imported carries in terms of healers and tanks. They're just going to run it in. I think this might be just in case they get a ROM, but I don't know why they didn't just get it themselves here. They could have grabbed that ROM and that, but they're going to go Io and Cassie. I don't know how I like this. I get the Io on this map, but now you've really opened it up for Squid Squad to just go ROM and like a Xin or something and just be very aggressive down the line at imported carries. I think that does work into them. It'll be Ruckus instead of the ROM, I'm assuming, just to deal with the IOCC maybe a little bit better. But I don't know how I'm feeling about it right now. Some sort of flanker to help get aggressive with them. Koga, of course, works. Koga or Xin kind of both were in the line of thinking that we were considering there, having that ability to run down, farm energy off of Luna, even if necessary, on the point. And they're just going, okay, they're going no tank. Interesting choice. They have the Io to kind of make up for it, and the Corvus for that little bit of extra healing, but they can just play their sustain on the side of Squid Squad and play on their kin. They don't really have anyone to make space for them on the side of imported carries, but we've seen weirder things work on Fish Market. We can head into the game and see exactly how the draft ends up functioning for them, but we've seen Zero Tank work here before. It's not the craziest thing I've ever seen, and just in case that Andrew gets close enough, we have Thing on the Kinessa running reposition to stay alive here, but this Ruckus, if he can get in with his Koga onto that Io, she's not going to survive. There's really nowhere for her to go, and then they have no way to cap the point whatsoever, so difficult potentially here. We'll see what the game plan is for imported carries, how they plan to keep their Io alive, how they plan to actually set themselves up here. But the Ruckus long shot already looking for something here on the side, and there we go. Just like I said, Io will not survive into this composition that effectively, even if it just ended up being a duck hunt kind of situation for Thing 2, who's currently watching the far right side of the map. But Apache's actually already in. They can take this ground, and it looks like they will. They're following it off of it very quick. Burst damage onto that Andro deletes him, as almost manages to follow that up with a second as well. Envy continues to get picked off here, and this Strix is far back, but not really able to do much of anything here, as Apache continues to put on the pressure. Not a lot of damage, but it's enough to get rid of that passive healing, as I'm not sure what that game plan was by throwing the dagger in at the con, but Longshot currently set up to look for someone to dive, maybe just looking, but they weren't ready for him. He dodges the reversal as well, but they can't finish off the kill. There's too much healing, and maybe they lose their Ruckus for it. He gets a mitter just in time, and they even end up on the positive side of it. Thing on the angle on the side catches the Io, as Johnny just desperately searches for a frag to trade out in response, but just cannot find it. Longshot in a great spot, trades out with Koga as well, keeping things continuously in their advantage. Not a lot of healing here forward, and they're just going to get collapsed on. Apache goes in, but Envy manages to get the save for now, catching out this Koga, as Envy finds a second Elec, trading out one more. This Headhunter maybe can find more, but they're not going to be able to find this Strix, holding close by. Genos is knocked low, and the angle there is for Elec. Getting one more, the stealth sniping helping significantly, and there's no way WizDude gets away from this one. He gave it a shot, but more credits in the pocket of this Corvus pocketed Strix. This is what Johnny's doing right now. I think Koga's a good matchup for him, but not when he's always getting helped by that con here. Longshot trying to flank. Doesn't know that he's here, but I think he just wins this. I mean, if these missiles hit, the flashbang, unfortunately, making things very difficult for him, but he's pulling a lot of people back. But Johnny wins the fight. Again, the Koga-Andro matchup is pretty sided towards that Andro. Johnny finally makes it work here for them. Squid are going to have to back up, but maybe just play Thing on the cart and cap that way as an aggressive Accursed Arm comes in. Very low is Johnny. Io able to save him for now, but actually, Elec is flanking there on the dock side. They don't know, I don't think they know he's coming in necessarily. Apache potentially can struggle into him. Amos gets the kill with his Entropic Breach. His Longshot tries to make something happen, but cannot find the next kill onto this Cassie here. Visuals does trade it out, but these trades are not looking good on the side of Squid. Continuously falling as Johnny uses a banned emote here around the corner. Hopefully someone on his team tells him about that later. But the four members of imported carriers are holding here, going for those dismounts. Not having a tank means they have to play their natural cover really carefully, and they can't really show themselves to this sniper at all. Managed to get away with it with a reversal for now, but Thing 2 can just slowly take some space and fight them, but Elec wins that again. Imported carries are continuously getting these duels kind of going their way. The double support's helping for now, but as we go a little bit further, Cauterize and Bulldozer will make things even harder. As they go, Apache Shield just gets absolutely annihilated on there here. But look at this surround potentially from them. They're starting to try to get around him, but I don't think they know Elec is behind him. They should lose Thing here from that. Yep, Strix, best sniper and apparently best flanker in the game too, but they lose two from Apache getting some trades. But there is a long way to go for them here. I don't know how realistic this push is for them. They'll have to continuously get stagger kills, but Elec is flanking around on the side. He's in a good position to keep putting pressure on. Thing can't really leave the spawn, and they use the scout to see that, yep, Con's still on cart. Kind of interesting on that one here. It's going to be hard to dive, especially with Longshot missing the dashes here, and Envy peeling for him. But if they get stuck here, they could just keep moving the cart, but no, it's not going to happen again. I said that was an unrealistic cart push there. They do get some extra credits onto Amos here, but Elec on this Strix is undying so far in this game. They have not been able to make it happen. I mentioned that Strix is genuinely the better counter sniper, and they have been rolling with it, I think, pretty well so far. Elec with his double pockets is having a difficult... they're having a difficult time dealing with him on the side of Squid, but Thing really has to... They have to let his Koga and Ruckus be the ones to deal with him, but hey, Ruckus tried to do it before and just got flashbang. That's just what happens when you try to challenge a Strix that's playing those angles as effectively as he is. Plus, the stealth running away, of course, helps quite a bit, but you can see here the Ruckus with Illuminate 2 might make things a little bit easier once that flashbang is actually down. Or if they use Hexafire in the face of it, that CC immunity will definitely help them in that here. A very defensive start this time from Squid Squad is both teams kind of just wait for the other to make a move, but Johnny will go first, and it's quick enough to kill Thing too. He cancels his Cursed Arm, he stays alive, as Amos rotates over to help him as well. Johnny gets a second kill, so 2 already in favor of imported carries as they rotate back to the objective, though. No real way to cap other than Luna, so they'll have to make sure that their IO stays alive through all of this as they rotate back to try to find some kills, but it looks like it's Johnny alone in this fight. I don't know if I would want to take this if I'm him. There's 3 people in front of him and no one really to help. Longshot gets that kill with the missiles, as the rest of the team was not willing to help them fight. A flashbang gets sent onto that Kinessa here as Olek is going for that kill. They should get that trade, and they do. Ghost helping there significantly as he supports it, just fighting each other. Wizdude ults literally nothing when Squid Squad sits back here. Envy on this respawn, putting a lot of pressure onto this Genos. I don't know why he repeats that. You have third person, my dude. You do not need to face check that, but it ends up getting him caught out as the cap time continues to mount for the members of imported carries. They will kill Elec, but Elec, of course, gets that trade. Apache, snipers have that much range. You got a shield there, my friend there, but he does not survive that as the cap time continues to climb. They wait, like this decision, let the overtime run out, but it doesn't end up paying off because Longshot makes it back in time. Longshot getting knocked really low. Johnny does get that kill, but doesn't have the defensive cooldown to stay alive. Thing is still keeping that point locked down, and this is what happens when you don't have a tank. Luna staying alive. They make it back with Apache on the point. This fight will not stop. Luna will die here, but Elec is on the flank. Reposition barely keeps Thing alive for now as he gets a generous mark as well, but Elec is just hunting for this kill. He knows he's there, but the lift will lock him in place, and Elec gets his second death of the match in a row. Apache still capping this point, but imported carriers have to wait for everybody. They don't have a tank to break the line. They have to have overwhelming damage be the factor to make that change instead, but they just lost Amos. Envy has to throw himself to the objective, and the standard composition from the Squid Squad ends up paying off. They get their first mid-fight win of this as Thing tries to snowball this, but Stealth just too powerful of an ability used by Elec, even if both snipers end up staying alive. Strix wants to trade in, actually will try to stealth for a duel, but just really can't take it quite yet. Thing now finally sitting it pretty in this duel here as they try to use the Accursed Arm to break ground, but they're just going to wait. They don't need to peek. That card has plenty of space to cover here. They're just going to sit there and wait, but Envy, look, they hid there on the left side. They weren't ready. Ruckus and Koga are running them down. Elec gets knocked low, but just barely gets kept up there. Thing gets a second one, and Amos a little bit too close for comfort to that objective. He's forward. Johnny tries to trade a kill out. Looks like Amos might have stayed alive here, but a grab onto Johnny pulls him out of that Entropic Breach, managing to find that kill onto Apache with it. And Thing is looking for somebody to keep this pressure on for. Envy sent back to the spawn as Amos actually kind of screws up his projection there. He can't make it all the way back. So Envy now waiting, looking for some opportunity to find a pick here. Wait a minute. No, Thing, no, you were in a great spot. You could have hit Apache. Now willing to spend an ult for this. Kind of interesting, but a second kill for Thing. We're still on him. He might find a Ruckus is the one who cleans up on it. Instead, it's just Amos left. There's no way he stays alive, and Thing with a flank on the side flips that fight completely on its head right away. Squid, what a play by Thing, but now they're heading into this next fight a little bit light on resources. They're not going to have that overpower. They're not going to have that headhunter. Going to have to rely on some very stationary ults and not really ones that can be used proactively. They have the Genos time and space, potentially maybe off a setup, but they have no chance for setup with what they have at all. And maybe the regular con grab can work there, but imported carries, they're not feeling too good about their ults either. They have the Accursed Arm. They have the Be Gone, excuse me. But again, only Accursed Arm can really be used aggressively, and it's going to be into a Kinessa, so Thing will have a great chance to deal with that if they plan to use it the way that they did before. Squid Squad, though, we'll see what their engagement style will be here. Maybe they play a little bit more aggressive if they think they can catch imported carries out, but imported carries played so passive last time, and they have no way to make space. They don't have a tank, again, to break through these lines. It has to be done with overwhelming damage, and Amos literally almost feeds 2 seconds into the round. Has to use his port early, and Longshot's getting ready to get aggressive, but it looks like a cursed arm from Johnny, maybe above, just to stop the push. They don't come in with it. The time and space also misses, so a lot of ults not really finding their mark right now, with Apache sitting back, but they have a Hex to fire behind. It looks like it might just be the zone, but no one is really repeating it. Cap time. They're going to start getting it. Johnny, I think, playing smart here, but he tries to get away, uses a lot here as the Cyclone Strike also doesn't find much of anything. Literally every ult is not connecting, but the health bars from Squid Squad, they're low, but they're bulky, and they're going to keep them in the fight 1-1 so far, though. Squid Squad maintain this space thing, finding 1 kill for them. Look how deep Almost is in the backline right now. He finds a lot of damage, but can't finish the kill. Just too much healing there for them. This thing about to do the pub spot, I mean, he's holding over here, wants to find somebody, maybe over peeking. It's going to have to be Alek, as he barely repos out of there in time. Good damage early onto Ghost, but Luna will not be able to survive. Instantly destroyed by Thing here on the point, so neither team is really willing to get onto this objective. Longshot and Thing are maybe waiting for someone to overextend, but they find Amos again, but he can't find it. Reposition again, barely keeping him alive. Ruckus was getting aggressive, though, above and behind, pressuring onto this IO, making both the healers turn, and look, they can't look at the DPS, so Visuals will find another one. Envy, they'll sit on the point right now. Longshot going to put on even more onto them. Elect is struggling to stay alive as their team is just thrown into chaos right now by the composition of Squid Squad as they get even further aggressive. Johnny tries to come into the fight, but loses a winning matchup. He gets knocked low. Thing finds one. Wizdu cleans up the next, and it's all onto Amos, who gets taken down by Longshot here. Thing will stop anybody, I think, from going back into this, and I don't know if they have a chance. It's just Envy. No one can really cross the same gap that they wanted to. Envy knows it's over. He's taunting on the right side, and Squid Squad will be your third placing players. I forgot what to say there. I was going to say third place champions. That clearly doesn't work. They'll be your third place team here in the third week of the open bracket in the Paladin Central Minor League. They take down Imported Carries, who I'm happy they were able to get here. They've been kind of losing in the semis, and I don't think they've been able to really take things much further here, but they prove that they're improving as a team, and they make a dent into Squid Squad, even if Squid Squad are able to close it out in the end. Fish Market, clearly a comfortable map for them, and it showed. I think the way they were playing around their DPSs worked great. I just don't think that the risk in the comp that Imported Carries took really ended up paying off in the end. I didn't really like the quad, the zero tank, effectively quad deeps with Corvus kind of playing that style. They had 2 healers to make up for the lack of sustain, but it really didn't end up paying off in the end. All the Cauterized, once we got to that late game, they couldn't keep it going. Apache just shredded Luna on the objective. We can look at that damage too, in favor of Thing, even if Alek had actually, in favor of Alek, he was the one who top damaged in that game, but even into a Genos, that is still pretty impressive, but there are, of course, 2 tanks to absorb the damage. Squid Squad. Thing was shooting a lot of people, but when you don't have a single tank on your team, there's only so much damage you can take before you end up dying. So I think it was still a solid performance by him on the side of both snipers, and Johnny just couldn't make it happen on the wider map that is Fish Market. So I still think, though, Squid Squad, they impress again. They get some more crystals. They get some more points for the closed bracket, which is going to be coming up next week. But the title match is going to be coming up next. We're going to see the first and second places get decided on the other side of this break.
And we're back. I'm back with the minor league and the Kresnik, of course. The game before was so exciting, I just crashed out, Just
yeah, he couldn't
just
recover.
Died, out of nowhere.
Yeah, I had to take. He was so excited from the last game. I actually had to take over. It was unfortunate, but we made it happen. We revived him. We brought out the defibrillator.
Yeah,
and we got him back up. But if that was too much, man, we're about to watch an even better set. I mean, Merkin Keyboard versus Eugene. I think these were the finals last weekend. I want to say Eugene won the last time these two teams played. So I mean, I'm leaning potentially towards them here. Merkin Keyboard, they don't have their support this week, so Bagel Wow is not playing. They have Signarina playing instead, someone who's been around the scene for quite a while, but we'll see how things look for them as we head into picks and bans.
Okay, let's jump right back into it. And of course, Shadow Desert might be my favorite map. Open spaces, so many lanes, so much space all around. Just incredible map. I love it so much. And Thorvald Strix actually getting banned, so pretty usual, especially Strix on such a wide map full of opportunities and angles to just pick up the airing theme. At this point, we even saw a couple of Andraxes being played here. Makoto's going to get banned, so Io still in the box for the first pick for Merkin Keyboard. And in general, what can we expect from Eugene at this point?
I'm trying to think about what they can really change here from Eugene. I mean, they banned Tormako. I think they're pretty standard, but I like the double backline ban from Merkin Keyboard on this map. They could just start with a ROM, honestly. Just knowing how they like to play, I wouldn't be shocked to just see them locking ROM immediately, judging by what's left, and that's exactly what they'll do. They'll have that really aggressive off tank to go in. Of course, Eugene snap Genos in response. You have the lift on the run, and you have a healer that can't necessarily... He has the damage boost, which will help that ROM die just a little bit faster. Eugene now grab Ruckus, too, so they get rid of the... They don't let Merkin Keyboard have the double dive tank, unless they want to go Ashe, of course, to kind of fill in the rest of it, but they can pick... They kind of have their pick of the litter for DPS here from Merkin Keyboard, and that should, I think, be where they look to prioritize.
At this point with Genos and Ruckus, I think you can pretty much go and take a Grover by yourself if you're Merkin Keyboard. You're going to go with Corvus, okay? Of course, that's the best healer you want to actually take as soon as Rom gets into the backline. But you have so many opportunities to, even go with a flank. Barrick is going to get picked, so that's a lot of shield to burn through. And Koga. So I really don't know what to expect from this particular composition because, once again, since I've seen so little of Barrick being played in NA, especially also Ruckus being so much of a prominent EU pick, with Koga, what's the best interaction they can actually have? Because I'm completely out of words right here.
I mean, the Koga will try to will be bullying on the side and trying to fight them out, but this is an interesting composition by Merkin Keyboard. They're running double support here with a Ying. I'm assuming it's going to be Bonscott on the Ying, probably playing Focusing Lens. I've played against him running it in Pugs before, so he's actually challenged snipers with it, by the way. Just put the illusion down and poke at a range. So the Ying can work there, and then a double flanker comp for Eugene. So they're looking for aggression, except for the Barrack. My only concern with that Barrack is Dome Shield doesn't exist. Aztif is not going to ult unless Dome Shield is up. So we'll see how he matches those ults into each other, because Barrack's not really going to have it to keep him up.
Absolutely, and we're ready to jump back into the game and find out, because at this point, it's just a matter of composition, but also loadout, and you see anything strange, anything unusual?
Nothing really crazy here in terms of talents. It is Focusing Lens like we expected, and it's not going to be big game. It's going to be the Impulse, but you kind of have to run it into that double flanker. Maybe Dink switches right before they roll out, but we're still pretty close. Also, no Guillotine, because it's ROM, and Guillotine won't even kill ROM. There's no reason to run it in this matchup. Play that Yomi, maybe you can duel them a little bit better. And of course, actually, importantly enough, cleave through the illusions. And actually do more damage to the Ying, but here's the potential engagement. Aztif running in, but doesn't really see anybody, so just disengage and wait for another chance.
Absolutely, and we can, we have a pause right here, and I think we're going to jump back onto us. And yeah, as we saw before in a couple of games, Rom didn't actually die from, the guillotine, and it's just two tanks, Khan, you can get out. We talked about it before, and of course, Rom. And at this point, I don't really know about the Zen pick. But yeah, Ying for sure is going to be super interesting.
Yeah, the Ying, we'll see what it can do here. But here's the engagement. I think that was a restart, assuming since Koga's at the end now, I'm assuming that was an aim assist restart here. But look at this right now. The aggression from the DPS, they find two and wants to potentially get more, as if still aggressive. They can't really push through them. They're staggering these kills out pretty brutally. And Aura 2020, aka Time Monkey, on the Xin, can't get out either. Azdiv manages to keep this pressure up, and just a complete roll of a first fight. Even with the aim assist, the Koga still couldn't survive what Merkin Keyboard would bring to the table. Out here, they're staying alive on the side of Eugene. They kill Azdiv. And Dink will have to disengage with his team. Toa for sure goes down here. And Koga manages to get a lot of damage. Should clean up another one. So Shuck's really running the table with them right now as they have to disengage. But their spawns are close. The further forward they go, the harder I would say it's going to be them to keep this up, but right now, Mage Monkey waiting for a flank here. They spotted him early, and they can peel. I don't know if I love this engagement, especially since Aura's already been knocked so low, and the Illusory Rift means nothing can die. They'll have to have Mage run away. He gets picked immediately. Aura will also more than likely follow here as the shoulder check comes in from the ROM to finish them off. They're looking to surround them here. Shucks uses a dash forward, probably not where he wanted to go with that, as Dink should finish off this kill right away as well. Yui is just reeling backwards. Back to spawn, but there's a lot of card time left. They should get their spawns back up in time.
They should be able to actually do that, but of course, the Cassie Dink right now being incredible, taking all the shots and actually putting a lot of pressure. The card is still keeping rolling, still moving. They got 1 minute left, and basically they're on to the last straw. They should be able to actually take it if they manage to get the Ruckus out, and Ruckus getting all the focus right here. They just need to shut down that verticality. They basically have the full run ahead. Double kill coming in. Dink just making shots left and right. They got the double kill, and that's a double point, super clean, right out of the bat.
Yeah, Merkin Keyboard with a dominant start to this Shattered Desert, one of their comfort maps, and it's definitely showing with how they've already looked here on it. It's a map that it's kind of like Jag in the sense where you're rotating around each other. Obviously very different from Jag in terms of how open the map is, but that's really what makes the big difference, how Poke is a little bit more effective on Shattered versus Jaguar Falls, which is what is allowing this focusing lens Ying, this Cassie, to get away with as much as they have been able to. But Sina undying so far on this Corvus, which is impressive against the pressure that Eugene supposedly have. I mean, double flanker, Koga and Zin plus a Ruckus going in. That should be a dead Corvus, even if it hasn't really come down to that quite yet. She's doing a great job avoiding the damage and keeping the rest of the team up.
Yeah, in general, it should be that, but also, like, the focus is so increased on those two targets. They are chipping away damage, and ROM completely uncontested right now. Of course, the supporting coming in from Dink once again. ROM being able to go into the backline, roaming without a problem. There's no counter, no blockage, no nothing. They got control of the middle point, and if Ying has enough time to set up, all those copy, all that potential inside the middle point, it's going to be super hard to get in, and get them out. And you can see it from the damage. Barik completely down. All the others are just running left and right. The Wormon coming in. And it's just a matter of draft. I don't think they have just the right counter for Rom at all. Maybe Zin, as we said before, with the guillotine, he can try to kind of block him and do a little bit of damage, but you don't have a hard CC, and they're just doing whatever they want.
I mean, I mentioned that the Rom would be able to counter the Barrack because of Dome Shield, but the Barrack also literally hasn't domed. I don't think we can even say that they're not dealing with the Rom. The Barrack just stood on point and died to the pressure. Did not spend anything, so maybe we'll see him be actually willing to spend it on this defense if the card gets any closer. But we have Vaughn, pushing on this left. They have a pretty much good split here, covering them on both sides. Cataclysm doesn't end up connecting, but it does draw a lot of attention, and it might let them push in from main as the card gets closer.
Absolutely, and as you can see, Ying does a lot of damage. Not many people realize that you can actually go with a Ying DPS if you are, confident in your abilities to actually hit those shots and have enough supporting onto your side to keep the enemy, keep your team alive. At this point, they're gonna try once again to place as much shields as possible, but the cast is just blasting through. She has everything. She has utility, she has vision, they know exactly where they're going. She's going to be able, with the ROM, to actually take this barrack. Through time and space is going to get popped off. I don't know why they're trying a desperate defense, but it's going to very easy victory for Merkin Keyboard. After this amazing push, and, as I said before, I don't know about the interactions. I didn't really know about Ying and casting combination, and as I said before, 100%, that Corvus had to be dead. So many flankers, so many opportunities to actually get behind him because the map is so huge. But they didn't capitalize on that, and they just died over and over and over, getting focused left and right. And once again, you need to focus Rom, you need to counter Rom, you need to have a Grover or a Shaolin or something to just block that with that CC, just block him in its place.
You know what else would have been sick?
Yeah, go for it.
A Dome Shield.
Oh, yeah. On the point?
They didn't use one all game. He didn't use one at all the entire game. The Barrack really struggled, I think, into that composition. It was a brutal game for him, just getting overwhelmed. He was the lone point tank in a comp that was really supposed to be aggressive, and they never really got aggressive. When they did, they just burned them down, and then it was Barrick left alone. Yui just had a really tough job trying to survive on the objective. Very, very difficult for him, and Merkin Keyboard just, I think, with the stalwart outdraft there. Even with the Genos on the other side, they never really stopped the ROM when it mattered. He just waited for his team to be ready, and even if they all dive and you grip the ROM, the rest of the team's going to collapse.
You know what they say, right? Okay, we're ready for another picks and bans, of course. And I think, as you said many times before, in other games, Barrick really struggled. He didn't have any opportunity to actually place that dome. And, while you flank, the dome stays on. But not this case. In this case, it got completely stomped out. And right now, we're going to play on Stonekeep. So a little bit more of a balanced map, of course. You got that verticality. You have that many snipers that you can actually play. In Eugene right now, banning, specifically the ROM. They don't want to play against that, but that's a slippery slope, because if you ban ROM, you have Makoa onto the other side, and he can do pretty much all of the shielding thanks to Alf Shell inside that middle point. You also unlock Torvald if it's not get manned, of course. And in general, you have Io unlocked and Droxus. So many good picks that you're basically exchanging for a ROM that you don't want to play against with.
I think you can still first pick Makoa, though. So Merkin Keyboard might ban it. They might ban Xin. I know that's a comfort ban for them. So Eugene could just get first pick Makoa here. They'll be comfortable with that, but Xin and Koa both end up getting by. Strix is the focused ban. I'm assuming a target towards Shuxias, and Makoa will be the first pick there for them. So that's a half shell. That's going to be a decent amount of control that they're going to be able to have wherever they put that Makoa, whether it be Church, whether it be Keep. Merkin Keyboard with a response here. They're going to grab that Han. I'm assuming that's going to be Leon's shield. Probably, I don't like Leon's shield on this map because, again, height differential. I'm assuming it could be a main tank with that, but it's going to be Khan and Geno. So they have a solid healer for this map for any DPS they get, and a tank that can live with or without those heals.
So basically, it's a full-on tank Khan, and we know that Khan on Stonekeep has so many opportunities, to just throw people out of balcony. You're going with Grover. We are going with Vivian. I mean, Eugene, they really want to play the meta game, the meta strats. While on Merkin Keyboard, on the other hand, they're going to play Tiberius on Stonekeep. Now, we see Tiberius many, many times on Ice Mines. Tight corridors, so many bounces, the ability to actually go in and, take those kills behind the enemy lines. But also in Stonekeep, you have so many walls and tight corridors. It can actually work pretty fine.
Yeah.
And with Fernando, you don't have Khan against you to just throw you out when your Aegis is out. So you also have a big shield and big opportunities to just keep the point running. And they go with Barrick once again in Eugene.
Yeah, they want the Barrick again, but there's no hit scan on the other side, so it's not really as brutal to play into. But the Tiberius, I like it into the Vivian. You throw it through the shield, through the Barrick shield, through the Makoa shield. There's a lot that this Tiger is going to be able to do for them. And Cassie Vivian, a double backline composition for them. Not a ton of range, really, outside of that Cassie, but Drogoz will be the last pickup for Merkin Keyboard, and there's really no way to deal with it. Vivian doesn't do that level of damage to a Wormjet's Drogoz playing at range. Grover's axes, I guess, yeah, they can hit him, but that's also saying, all right, Grover, can you please hit the Drogoz across the entire map consistently, because that's the only way we can deal with them. If that's your game plan to stop a Drogoz, you're not going to be doing too hot.
What about Cassie, though?
It's projectiles. It's still something that the Drogoz can dodge. It's still inconsistent. No matter what, you need you want some sort of long range hit scan, or someone who can get at the Drogoz's level to equalize.
So at this point, not having at your disposal Droxus, or Kinessa, or anything else, is going to have a pretty easy time. But we're going to find out back into the game, because we're ready for game 2. Potentially a match point at this point. We're in the Jets, of course. Everything is pretty much the same. But Khan with Storm of Bullets. So instead of being a full-on tank, and onto the other side instead, Fernando with Scorch also.
Yeah, Scorch is something that, I mean, Merkin Keyboard, they just like Scorch. They think it's better than Aegis. I disagree in some situations. I think you can't run Scorch, but I think this is a comp where they could probably get away with it, depending on how they play in Keep, but they can just block them off. Storm Bullets, though, the reason you run that, it's Stone Keep. There's a lot of difference in heights here. You're going to get shot at over your shield a lot. The shield really doesn't gain you anything, but Astif is way forward. Dink actually gets the first kill, as now Toa is going to be able to collapse from above.
And they're pushing them back. They got so many bounces and, of course, so much potential at this point to just get this high ground. The kills are trading left and right, but I see that Martin Keyboard, they have so much potential. They just need to shut the Cassie down, and they're ready to take that point. Mako, of course, is going to try to rob somebody, at least from the ledge, to try to take a kill, but it's going to be so little, so late, because right now Fernando getting in, Mako is going to get overrun. Everybody just collapsing onto the enemy team. They also got a percentage point onto that middle, and yeah, basically right now the first engage is not super good for the enemy team, and Eugene, yeah, they're gonna back off and probably lose the point and have to defend a full-on approach.
Yeah, the aggression up top really helped them a lot there, and also Dink getting the bounce kill behind well really hurt them too. Shucks knocked really low. This sword is going to do so much to this Vivian, but look at this. They use the Vine Tech, they make it to the point, they get the overtime, but now they have to keep this fight going without any heals.
And that's going to be super hard right there. Overtime coming in thanks to the touch. But of course, the objective is going to be captured. That's going to be a clean 1-0. But let's see what's going to happen, because Fernando is still onto the high ground. He can control, gave a little bit of a space to his allies. Wormjet's doing overtime work. Tiberius and all the others that are going to try to coop up into that high ground, take a kill, and then move on. 86% before the Dragon Pension. Remember, that can shift the balance. The enemies are just going to crumble if he will actually able to get at least Barrack. Because I think Makoa can pretty much deal with thanks to Tiberius, but I don't know about Makoa right now.
Look at that. They had a lot of damage over there. They will end up losing their con, but the Drogos, can rotate so quickly. But look at that damage. The AoE so much between Dink and Toa. They all get knocked low, and Nickel Blade Dance to get away, but they have a chance to re-push, and that they're going to have to focus on healing everybody. The health in Eugene is not good, but they just can't keep up the pressure.
Absolutely. And right now, DP is ready. So he just needs to find the right angle, and he's going to go to the left. It's going to be completely unscathed. They find him. Go with the knockback. They're just gonna try to do as much damage as possible with the DPS and the spit. DP is still ready, so the Freds is looming over their heads, and of course Dink is just taking kills over kills over kills. The half shell is done. Makoa is still there. He can try to do as much damage as possible thanks to Fernando. They actually got the Cassie. They're gonna just keep this DP alive. Barrack actually forced to use the Domo Shield right now. See? You're happy right now. Of course they use the Domo Shield, so they're ready to go, but it's not going to be enough. And I think it's going to be another clean 2-0 because there's just no defense against them. There's no way to respond to so much aggression.
Yeah, they have this fight right now, and look at this. They're going to actually use the Blade Dance just to go through that, just to pressure him through the shield, but the Grover Heals are there, and Blade Dance doesn't apply Cauterize, but they still lose the Makoa in the process. Merkin Keyboard, they will get that 2-0 that you predicted. No Murladamus that they were able to get. I was that
big prediction over here. big strat, big brain.
And Sina still undying, I think, from game number 1. So not a death honor so far. And a lot of good ults, I think, still available from Merkin Keyboard. One of their executes is still up. They have the Immortal to keep themselves going. And really, all Eugene have to work with is an Ancient Rage.
In 15 seconds.
And we know that Ancient Rage is not that good of an ultimate, at least not anymore. Of course, it's just a replenish, You're back into the fight, of course, but you're not guaranteeing yourself a kill. It's kind of a terminus ultimate, You're back into the fight. That's cool. But remember, we still have a DP at our disposal, thanks to that Drogo's up in the air. So even though you're popping Ancient Rage, you still have the Fred looming over you of just getting insta-shot. And I think that Toa is just doing an amazing game. The Fred is all on his side. The DP is ready. He's just going and itching for a kill. And he does not find anything, actually. He just replenishes back to 36%.
Yeah, I mean, it's smart. He couldn't really commit any further. He had to play it the way that he did. They didn't have the timing quite right between the Immortal and the Dragon Punch. It was going to be a combo, but they couldn't end up finishing any other kills with it. Well, these tanks are kind of stacked here. Sina doesn't connect with the time and space, but they still manage to hold this keep side. And I love this positioning by Toa. You can play these trees and make it so hard to deal with you. Even though Aura's close enough to get these shots, he just can't finish anybody off. He can't find the kills on people above, and they're just going to wait and burn them if they try to actually contest this objective.
And that's okay because he has no lower ground threats to actually go against him, so he can utilize those trees and also so many shields at his disposal. He's just gonna try to fight it off on and on and on. And remember, comeback mechanic is there, so if they get at least a couple kills, it's done. 70% is already there. Real Win is gonna get spent. They're gonna try to survive as much as possible. Makoa in a very tough spot right there.
Yeah, they have some contest, though. They did touch and get overtime, and Yui will have to leave in. That sword, actually, Dink just 100 to zeros. They're over and follows up on the Vivian as well.
Maybe another one onto that Makoa if they try to get it. Actually, Cassie going in. He is ready to chase in and get another one. And that's an incredible quadra kill at his disposal. 2 doubles in a row. Pretty good for him. Actually, Mark and Keyboard ready to get another point. And another push coming.
Yeah, Dink with a quad there, basically. There near the very end. Some good poke up top, too. There's no way they can make it back in. Even in the face of all that cap time, they couldn't turn it around. And look at this, though. Toa actually is right above them, and the shield doesn't come up in time to save the Cassie.
No can do. And of course, Cassie having a really tough game to play. She's doing an incredible job to keep the team alive and just trying to snipe as much as possible. But no can do. Of course, this Tiberius is completely unscathed, completely uncountered. And Dink just, doing Dink stuff. Getting the high ground, trying to do as much damage as possible. That sword shield, just passing through, getting as much damage as possible. Does his thing. And I think with Khan and the ultimate ready, they can get free kill right now. And there you go. There you go. Khan actually gets the free kill right there. No. They kinda, I'm not really clear from this perspective, but yeah, they got a couple of kills right there. Through time and space coming in. Does not get a target. Do you think they can defend? It's just a full-on onslaught.
Possible. These bounces aren't really connecting from Dink. He has to find something, and the sword didn't really connect either. Unfortunate. I thought, actually, that Drogo's leg was going to help. I didn't realize he was about to end up falling off the map, so tough one for him. But they're just waiting for the chance to go back in. Toa was able to pull them all back into spawn, even if they couldn't end up collapsing on them. And look at this Drogo's attempting to flank on the right side. But now they're looking for him. The hook's going to come in. I doubt this Drogo's will live here, even if that spit comes out. And they're going to have to delay this push even longer.
At this point, I don't know, it's all on Cassie. She needs to find the right spot, the right angle, but they're all backed up into the defense, and 50 seconds is just a lot of time. And remember, right now, we still have the threat and looming with the 91% from that DP Drogo's up in the air. You need to find him, and don't find him, and actually 100% right now. Fernando also with the ultimate at 80%, so any single tool at their disposal is there. Even though if they don't get the push, they will be able to get the next point. So pretty much okay, pretty much safe for them. Dink takes another kill right there. As I said, Fernando just pops his ultimate. So much survival right there. They're gonna try over and over and over. Toa gets a double kill, and that's gonna be a free push right there. Mark and Keyboard, they get the victory.
Yeah, great play there near the very end. I think having the Blade Dance to go through the Dome Shield, plus an Immortal and a Dragon Punch to take down a Makoa that has Ancient Rage. I mean, he didn't ult, but of course he didn't ult. He still dies anyway to the Dragon Punch. So they just had every counter necessary at the very end of the game, with Merc and Keyboard being willing to spend all their ultimates. Unanswered Drogo's was a huge part of what made that work.
Yeah.
And Dink also with a phenomenal performance on that Tiger, pulling out Tiberius, something not everyone's super comfortable with, but this was almost a dream comp for him. These tanks don't handle the sword well, the DPSs don't handle the bounces well, and his ultimate counters a lot of the pressure that they were trying to put on.
Absolutely. I don't know what else to say. I mean, you called it for it. You said that, of course, the Tiberius pick was awesome, for so many shields and so many bounces. You called for, the possibility for Drogo's to have an amazing game. And I think Cassie was the only kind of counter available at their disposal for Eugene to actually trying to get him before the DP. But no can do. Actually, DP, not super reliable. We didn't see many kills with it, but just the threat of having it there, at any time can pop off and just destroy one of your tanks for free. Yeah, that's still there. That's still a resource that you can use during your team fights. But let's see also Sage Monk and all the others. So they tried their best, and we can definitely see that the difference was there. Merc and Keyboard, incredible playthrough from them.
Yeah, no, they drafted great. They played great. It's definitely a nice change of pace from how they looked in the previous weeks, where they weren't able to win. I don't think they were able to win a week in this month until this week. So, A, either Merc and Keyboard really leveled up, or B, it's just a really competitive region right now. North America, I think we've had a different winner for the last 3 weeks. So definitely happy to see these teams fighting for it. And that makes me think that the closed bracket, which is coming up next week, is going to be competitive. It's going to be a all-out brawl to see what team walks away with the last PCML for a little bit because of holidays and all that fun stuff coming up next.
Yeah, fun stuff for everybody. I mean, this year it's going to be definitely different for all the others, from all the others, of course. But we're, still here, still in the spirit of the game. And remember, what's going to happen this weekend, Kresnik? What's going to happen?
This weekend, the 4th, the 5th, and the 6th is going to be the Paladins World Championships. What's more of the regional? It's the World Championships because there's a championship in every section of the world, I guess. We're calling it the regionals, kind of more in vernacular, but 3 different days. Each day is going to be 6 best of 5 games that we're going to be casting for you. Going to be quite a bit of time for us there.
But a lot of games, actually. But we're going to have an analyst desk, all the good stuff.
Oh,
I'm sure. People are going to be there, Fawn and Dave and all the others. So happy to be there for sure. Hope I don't have any, kind of troubling connections. But
God, I hope not.
We're going to be fine. We're going to be fine. We're gonna be okay, but thanks for sticking by, and coming by to What's the Minor League. And Chris, you have anything else to say before we close up?
Nothing else I can think of other than make sure you guys tune in and support.
Okay, I'll see you at this point on the weekend for the Paladins World Championship.